Welcome.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're fucking here. Welcome to Take Action Tattoo and Gaming presents Fuck This Movie podcast.
I like the presents. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
That's appropriate.
Brought to you by.
Yeah. Brought to you.
Brought to
Yeah.
you
We
by.
get a little advertising in there.
Right.
Full sponsorship.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I am your host, Dustin Holler. I'm a longtime film enthusiast and once a decade-long employee of Blockbuster Video.
Wow.
Those are my credentials. Joined today by Reese Anweiler, no S. I think that's important to note.
Yeah.
He's a modern-day movie expert. I would say a movie award fan. He watches the Oscars, so that counts.
That's more than I did.
An avid collector of the Blu-ray Criterion Collection.
Oh.
We also are joined today by John Brown, owner and proprietor of Take
Owner and
Action Tattoo and
proprietor.
Gaming.
I do both.
He is the best tattoo artist in Northern Indiana.
I don't think that's true.
He's a big-time film buff
can't prove
and
otherwise.
movie prop critic who specializes in B horror flicks. How you guys doing today?
I'm a schlock purist for sure. I'm
Schlock
doing.
purist.
I'm doing great.
Schlock
All right,
purist.
we're gonna write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is episode 1 of what will hopefully be thousands.
Yeah.
If we get to 1 million, I'm quitting.
Right.
That'll break some records. I think.
Yeah. No, it'll be the most successful podcast of all time.
Yeah.
But today we're gonna go over. So basically, what we're gonna do here is every episode we're gonna go over one movie, and we will have previously watched it, hopefully together, but maybe not always.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
And we're gonna watch it in total silence, as if we were in a movie theater,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're gonna break it down for you the best we can, and then we're gonna give our thoughts on what we think about it.
Yeah. Full disclosure about my own thoughts and opinions. They are thoughts and opinions.
Oh yeah,
You know,
that's
if someone wants to disagree, have at it.
yeah, that's
Just
that's
some
probably a
asshole.
good thing. to
Mine
know.
are thoughts, but instead of opinions, they are facts.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just the truth.
I kind of think of myself as a Jesus figure in life, and so I don't really think of my thoughts as opinions. I really think that people should just kind of
I mean, at the end of the day, they're
Take
just thoughts.
heed.
But
Take
they are
heed.
just thoughts. I mean,
they are just
so I
thoughts,
guess
but people should take heed.
The summation is take what you will of my thoughts, our
Mhm.
thoughts, if you agree. And yeah, it is what they are. And they will be like fiery and opinionated for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say what I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to present it as anything other than it is what I have to say. So
So what I've done here is I found a. Let's get that cough.
Yeah,
on.
right
Let's
out,
get
right
that cough on
out the
mic
gate. Let's
right
get
now.
a cough in the podcast.
I've kind of found a little bit of a, what would you call it? Kind of a I don't know, like a breakdown of the film. It's a mock-up,
written synopsis.
a written It's more than a synopsis.
More
It's
than a
more of an
synopsis?
outline or a
plot
Let's
outline,
call it
yeah.
Cliff Notes. It's Cliff
Outline,
Notes.
Cliff notes. Okay.
Cliff Notes written by some person who I'm not going to name because I'm going to talk shit about him throughout this entire podcast.
I like how you found some random person's
Oh,
plot.
no,
Instead,
yeah.
you didn't go to like the Wikipedia and read their plot.
No, like I started off that way and I didn't like theirs because it was a little too like cut and dry.
But you still don't like his.
No emotion.
I wanted something a little more detailed, but these details are bad. like some of them are just bad. So before we get started, and I also want to start by saying, there are definitely going to be spoilers here. So if you have not seen Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Go watch it.
yeah, stop this podcast. Just hit pause. It's like 2 hours and 12 minutes. Go watch it, and then come back, and then you can listen to the podcast, and we'll be on the same page.
I believe it's currently streaming on Showtime.
On Showtime and all kinds of
Legally.
other services that you can add Showtime to for like $10 or some shit like that.
It's also worth paying for if you just want to buy
Yeah.
it. Blu-ray,
Um,
digital, DVD.
Before I start in on this, what do we call it? Cliff Notes. You guys have anything you want to say about, like, Reese? I know any accolades about this film that are notable that we want to mention beforehand.
I mean, this movie won like every possible award last year. It swept at the Oscars, at the Golden Globe. I don't remember the other. I
Yeah.
can never remember which one's TV
Yeah.
and movies between the
Right.
Golden Globe and
Probably
Emmys.
some like
BAFTAs.
guild, like like the what is it, the Screen Actors Guild Awards or something.
It won
like
there.
that.
It even won at the Indie Spirit Awards because it's technically an independent movie.
The Oscars have always been held like near and dear to me. Like I don't really give a shit about awards in general, whether it be sports or whatever. But like the Oscars is the one. It's like there's nothing like it. It's like it's like it's voted on by the peers, and so I just think it's like it really like the whole show is kind of a shit show.
It's still just an award show.
The award show itself, but the actual awards themselves are like kind of holy, and the fact that only so many people have won these things, and very few people have won multiples, and it's kind of a big deal. So we're gonna get started here. So the film opens with the Wong family. Unless you're Jamie Lee Curtis, then it's the Wang family. Happily singing karaoke in a mirror until they disappear. And then it cuts ahead to the present day inside this kind of hectic home of the Wong family, where we meet Evelyn, played by Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh, kind of amazing, really, over the past few years. She did a little bit on this like kind of like shitty like rom-com Crazy Rich Asians.
You say shitty, but that movie's like
it's like way better than you would ever think.
Everyone loves that movie.
It's like way better than what you would ever think it is.
Yeah.
For sure, if you ever watch it. And obviously she did like a whole bunch of kung fu movies and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and all that.
Connection made. Okay.
Yeah. John didn't even know that. Wow.
That's how she knows kung fu.
yeah, for
Except
sure.
in one version of herself.
She was in, I believe, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, Evelyn and her husband Waymond, played by Ke Huy Quan. You guys know this guy?
I do.
Ke Huy Quan, child actor. He starred in such films as Goonies.
I forgot about him until this movie.
Yeah, Goonies, and he also was in another big budget film. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Daka Jones. That's him. That's him. Very famous quote from a very famous movie. But yeah, her husband. He plays husband Waymond. And
booby traps. That's why I said booby traps.
So wait, how do you spell that name? Waymond.
Waymond. It's Waymond.
Waymond.
Oh, the names in this movie are fucking hilarious.
Yeah, pretty funny.
It's just getting started on how hilarious some of these names are.
How his husband named the Oriental. What is it?
Chinese.
Chinese, yeah. I mean,
house husband named fucking with the accent attached to the name. Waymond.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But anyway, as the movie starts out, they're putting together some tax documents for an audit. They're also preparing for a big birthday party for Evelyn's formerly estranged father. They call him Gong Gong, but we're just going to call him Grandpa or whatever the hell. Played by James Hong, which I don't know if you guys know James Hong, but like he's like kind of the go-to if you need like an old wacky Asian dude in a movie. He's like the go-to.
And he's been that for a long time.
For like 40 years.
He's
like 40 years.
Like 95 years old.
Yeah. I mean, like 40 years ago, he played the same character.
He was Lo Pan in Big Trouble too, right? I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I don't know if that's true, but
I think
you're right.
Much younger, like 40 years.
We'll confirm.
So in his 40s.
We will confirm as we walk through this.
Yeah.
So anyway, he temporarily disowned Evelyn for marrying Waymond and moving to the U.S. He's a little pissed off, kind of an old curmudgeonly fellow.
Yeah.
And
curmudgeon.
And so this family is running a struggling laundromat, and they obviously have some tax issues, hence the audit by the IRS,
which is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, as a small business owner,
as a small business owner, the idea of that is like crippling fear.
Yeah.
Just curl up and like, oh God, well, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
No.
If I have stuff I want to talk about of the stuff you're saying,
just fucking stop me.
Because I feel like I could talk. Like the opening shot you talked about, I feel like I could give like 20 minutes.
Dude, step in.
It's those.
Tell me about the opening shot. Tell me the opening shot.
Are like that shot.
You're talking about the karaoke.
Like literally, it's a zoom in on a mirror.
Yeah.
On a bookcase, and it has the whole family standing together singing karaoke. They're all smiling and happy. And then, like, I think a door shuts or slams, and the lights change, to its daylight, and the mirror like bounces up, like it's reacting to the door slamming. It's crazy. And then it's on the ceiling, it's gone. Then you immediately hear somebody yelling, and it's the kind of shot that on repeat viewing, it's incredible because you see it's setting up the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
In that shot,
the shot, like, oh look, in this mirror reality, they're all happy and getting along.
Yeah,
and then boom, back to reality, everyone's miserable and it's dark.
That's great. Yeah, there's definitely a thing that's
great
better
insight.
picked up on the back end.
Yeah,
rewatch,
it's amazing.
There's a lot of good shots.
There's
a lot of good shots, and it was really good usage in the early shots and any of the apartment shots in the film. The apartment shots were really good usage of camera and space.
Yeah,
because it's hard to get a good shot of a whole scene in that apartment because it's so fucking tiny. And there's a scene where I think she walks out the front door, where the husband ends up like turning from the table where all the tax shit is piled, and it just, you see the whole apartment, and it helps with just like the hopelessness of that situation because like you see the whole apartment, every piece of it in that one shot, and that's like a heavy thing because that's what they got. They have literally like equivalent to 1,000 square feet of room.
Yeah, and it's packed. Every inch of the room is books
Yeah.
and papers. That's I love. I don't know what it is like, but you can always tell in a movie in a good way that kind of set is a set, and instead of like they walked into somebody's apartment and just shot it. It just always looks different. They both look perfect and lived in.
Right.
But you can always tell when one's constructed, and it's like, and that's that. It's like a perfectly constructed, lived-in set.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Incredible.
And for what they're trying to go for with in the gravity of what's happening for the family, like you kind of need that extra oomph, and like that it's perfectly okay in the experience.
There's another shot, short. It's in this opening scene, but it's like a real quick and you'll miss it shot where she's sitting at the table doing her taxes, and Wayman comes up behind her talking about her, and it's getting to the end of the scene, and it like pans out. It's still in the room, but you can see like the wall of the living room in front of her, and it's got a picture of her dad on it, and he says something about your dad needs you or
this
something.
would be Gong Gong.
Yeah. And then like she like kind of like obviously tenses up, and then it like camera focus changes to the picture on her dad, and immediately like establishes her relationship with her dad. It's like a very imposing threat.
Yeah, that was also super good.
Yeah, this Cliff Notes written by a person I'm not going to name kind of takes some liberties because he's just trying to explain it to an audience that maybe has or has not seen it, and it is very Cliff Notey, and like it doesn't do justice to the scenes. So as I'm going through this is just kind of to keep us on track.
I wish I would have watched it again. God.
Oh, John. John's a one-time viewer. I watched it. Well, I listened to it like 4 times today.
No, it was No,
but anyway, moving on in the little Cliff Notes by this douchebag. Evelyn is too busy to talk to Wayman, who has secretly drafted up divorce papers, and she's angrily rips googly eyes off of wherever she finds them, stuck to places in the laundromat, put there by her family as a joke that Evelyn doesn't appreciate. So these googly eyes...
the culprit will be revealed later.
Yeah, the googly eyes, like... It's kind of like a little thing early in the movie that does come back around.
It's a very it's actually one of the awesome features of the film because it's a simple symbol for a big part of the film that's present through the whole film, and that's a big deal, and it's just perfect capturing in essence of what it is because it's so fucking serious, but it's not at the same time, and it's a brilliant little thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I talk about its relationship to a future thing in the movie, should I wait till we get to that part?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to skip ahead,
by
all
all
means. There are no fucking rules here.
That's a quote from the movie. There are
hey, exactly in the spirit of that. Yeah.
I have a feeling that if we skipped ahead to episode 10 of this podcast, it would be
a completely different thing.
Yeah. We're going to see how poorly run this one was.
Well, and we're definitely finding our legs here on this first one. I mean, we're used to the magic stuff just because it's whatever. But there will be a bit of adjustment here.
Now we're into movie magic.
We're trying to be more serious, slightly, at least on this one.
This is very serious.
Yeah, this might end up being a 4-hour episode.
Super serious.
It could, honestly.
But in the spirit of the movie, I actually like just I like that we wanted to start this structured and on point. Yeah. But the spirit of the movie is not that. Yeah. The spirit of the movie.
No,
is
I made the comment.
Once, actually, what we should have done is start with a direct spoiler. Hey, this is going to be a spoiler. And
everybody dies at the end.
Yeah. And then go backwards. Or just jump to random shit. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dog dies. Sorry. Sorry, everybody.
Spoiler, there is no dog.
Yeah, this is basically the sequel to Turner and Hooch. You're all fucked. And you're not going to sleep well. So anyway, this family's rebellious daughter, Joy, played by Stephanie Sue, arrives with her girlfriend, Becky, played by Tali Metal. Evelyn and Joy have a strained relationship, and they argue about basically everything. Joy's tattoos, whether she should come out to Gong Gong, as as we said before, he's elderly and curmudgeonly and kind of has old world thoughts. Joy,
assumedly so, honestly.
Oh yeah,
He never actually is given the chance.
There's no assumption. It's just the traditional, the elder in the family. Oh no, he can't process this, but there's never really any indication.
Right.
He couldn't process it.
Yeah, and that all comes. That there's definitely that scene here early in the movie where she is trying to introduce her girlfriend to her grandfather, and she can't really she's trying to speak Chinese to him, and she's
butchering it,
first generation American. No, he actually comments on how bad her Chinese is.
Would you like to go on my sailboat? I know it involved a sailboat.
Yeah, and so she's trying to, she's kind of first generation American. She speaks English as a first language, but she is from a Chinese family, and she is trying to speak to her grandfather in Chinese, and she's trying to introduce her girlfriend to him, but she's kind of afraid to say the words. And so she's kind of hem and hawing about what words she wants to use for it. And mom just steps in and is like, this is her friend. This is her very good friend.
Yeah.
And this is, that's kind of like a kick in the crotch to.
Oh, it is. Yeah. But in essence though, it is true.
It is true.
Because your significant other is absolutely your good friend.
Yeah.
So but it was that. But
it's the kind of thing where the mom definitely feels like she's doing the nice, innocent thing and not realizing.
Not realizing the emotional implication. I mean, because in those situations.
Yeah, because you both said that. Yeah, it's assumedly so that he would have these
exactly. Yeah.
Old world attitude toward it, but he's never given the chance because the mom definitely has the old world attitude and.
Yeah.
And as you see, is it
or fear of the old world attitude?
Yeah, for sure.
That too.
So yeah, Joy thinks her mom is using Grandpa as an excuse, and that Evelyn herself is really uncomfortable with her daughter's sexuality, which obviously is true. They introduce Becky as Joy's very good friend. Gong Gong critiques Joy for her lack of Chinese language skills, which we have covered.
Sailboat.
And my God, the guy who did this fucking outline needs to die.
Hey, don't be too mean, man.
He needs to die.
Oh, this is so entirely too mean. Jesus.
So the way he's okay, so Grandpa criticizes her lack of Chinese, and then her mom calls her fat. That's not how it goes. She kind of
that cuts out a lot.
Yeah, she cuts. Yeah. She kind of storms out. She's walking to her car, and mom
trivializing the
mom kind of feels bad because she realizes that she was just an asshole.
Oh no, that was a really good scene. Mom felt.
No, it's a very good scene.
And the thing is too with it's not even that she's necessarily uncomfortable. She's just confused.
Yeah,
there's more I think in that performance and presentation, a lot more confusion, and I think that would be the right thing because she's a loving mother still regardless, and she proves that through the film. She was definitely that, and I think she captured that very well. And in that last scene too, she was riding off of that confusion and just trying to grasp and hey, I want to I want to do my best here, but she's only equipped to do so much, and so the best she can get out is this just knee-jerk, terrible reaction that's built into the relationship.
Yeah. So she reacts poorly in front of Grandpa, basically speaks for Joy. Joy gets a little pissed off. She's like, we're getting the fuck out of here. They start leaving. They're going to the car. And then, Evelyn realizes that like, oh, fuck, I was kind of an asshole. And so like, she's like doing the whole chase after her. And she gets to the car. And it's like, wait, hold on. And you feel like an apology is coming of some sort. Yeah. And like, she even like kind of gets up the gusto to give the prelude to an apology. Yeah. And then
she's trying really hard.
Yeah, she's trying really hard. And then all she can like muster is, you should eat better because you're getting fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what she comes up with. And we should also note, I don't know when the best time to note this is, but this movie at its heart is kind of like just a mother-daughter film. I mean, in a lot of ways, like this movie is
I wouldn't
built
say at its heart. I would say at its heart, it's just a movie about relationships. But like
sure.
Like this, I would say
the focus is on this.
The story is really about the mother.
That's definitely the narrative focus. I think that the thing at its heart is exactly its title. Like it wraps everything up.
For sure.
It's this, and it's that thing on every level, on every layer.
Yeah.
Like it executes that idea really well. Like with something that big, you need a narrative guideline, just the same way we're using this guy's fucking, rendition of this movie here. And so that's the mechanism, and it's good, and it's endearing, it's heartfelt the entire way.
Yeah.
But you definitely need something like that. So.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that, and we can get to this later, but like initially they kind of had pegged Jackie Chan for the lead role in this film.
For Jackie Chan,
and like, Jackie Chan is a very lovable fellow. Like, I think it would have been a very different movie.
Yeah.
Had it like if it would have been like a father-son thing compared, I think it's a stronger
even a father-daughter relationship.
Yeah. And honestly, like John and I had talked about it afterwards. If you were going to put Jackie Chan in this movie, I actually think him as Waylon would have actually.
That's what I thought. I heard that they were trying to get Jackie Chan.
That would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I heard they were trying to get Jackie Chan and they couldn't. Yeah. I assumed it was for Waymond, and because Waymond and her would probably be a great on-screen couple. Right. But then I looked into it, and he was going to be the lead. So I don't know if Michelle Yeoh was then still going to be the spouse, if she was going to be like a Waymond role to him.
Right.
Or if it was going to be a completely different actress for the spouse role.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. I think it's all for the better. I think Jackie Chan is great, and I love him, and he's great at playing like kind of confused and lost. But it's so much. I've never seen him play like a sharp character. And it's always an innocent confusion. And for her, it needs to be a lot more.
This movie is inherently silly. It's very silly. Yeah, and Jackie Chan is silly. But like this movie is silly without being silly.
Oh no, it's pretty fucking silly.
It is silly, but it's smart silly.
No, it's smart while being silly.
Yes,
exactly. Like, that's what it is. That's it's super super fucking smart while being silly, and like it's very like it's that level. It's like another thing, a thing that is of the same level of that is like the fucking Pickle Rick episode of Rick and Morty. Like it's that level of like you're being super fucking silly, but goddamn, there's so many layers to this.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know, like the smartest like I don't know if Dave Chappelle did a fart joke, just going like, "Look, farts are funny. Yeah. Like I'm a brilliant person. Farts are funny."
No, it's really, really serious. It's the perfect blend of everything. That's what's so great about it. Is it's very much that. Like, it's just exactly as silly as is
perfect blend of everything. Foreshadowing, John. Yeah. Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
No, so anyway, in these early opening sequences where they're kind of like developing the characters, there's a little bit of a shot of Waylon. Everybody's kind of too busy to notice. You kind of pick it up on a like security screen of him seemingly getting possessed and doing some martial arts,
super karate.
Yeah, just randomly, kind of in the background, you kind of see this.
Yeah.
And there's really no explanation to it whatsoever. It just kind of happens, then it stops.
It was super good foreshadowing.
It was also really fantastic in the whole character of Evelyn is very self-involved and narcissistic, and the way they introduce Wayman's doing this, like the kung fu moves in the background, like on the security cams that she's not even looking at, is again just portraying how she thinks of and treats Wayman as like a business partner. Is like she acts, and she constantly says to the movie that he's doing silly things and not being helpful. Meanwhile, she's not even paying attention to this incredible stunts he's doing right behind her.
Something else I noticed in the second watch through, and when we all watched it together, you had already seen it a million times. John, it was your first view. It was my second view. Something I noticed in those early sequences is just her around the house, like when they're getting the tax documents around, she's at the head of that. And at the same time, she's directing everything else in the house. I mean, like not only like you're taking the stove while we're cooking this for the party, but telling you exactly how many minutes, and like basically just kind of bossing over everything as it's going on. And you kind of get that sense of everything. Like while we'll find out later, this character is supposed to be like the worst version of herself. She is in her own way kind of a control freak at heart.
I think, and not any, spoilers aside from this for later, but just the, I think it shows, because in every other, it shows how much she's grasping at, it builds up her potential, because in the movie you learn her potential and how she's basically just everything, and here she's in this mundane situation. I think to me, that's her trying to do her best at that, even in that moment, she's still just like trying. She's trying super hard. This is the worst version of her. And I feel like it's that version of her trying to compensate for that naturally.
Yeah, no. And I felt like, there's a really good connection to, just the idea of being, like an alien in this country, and honestly, this first part of the movie, when I first saw it in the theater, at this point, basically the entire movie is in Chinese. I mean, like it's subtitled. I went with my wife, and I was wondering at the time, like, did I just take her to a foreign film and not tell her that it was a foreign film? Like I didn't even know.
And we all know your wife's super racist, so she'd probably be really offended by that.
I want to respond to somebody in chat real fast. They're asking what movie we're speaking of because they're late to the show. We're speaking of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or is it every? Yeah.
No, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Is what we're speaking of. All right, continue. Sorry.
Okay, so
ignore the chat.
Moving on in the continuation of the film, you should actually go watch the movie.
I actually wish we had the movie playing right now. Just silent.
Yeah, I know that'd be better. That'd be better than Cliff Notes. I didn't think of that. I didn't.
But
think of that.
What would happen with me is
we could pause it.
Just silent. I'd just be staring at the screen.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, kind of the next scene. Wayman, Evelyn, and Gong Gong, they're going to the IRS.
Terrifying.
For their meeting with the auditor.
I love this character too.
Yes.
Oh yeah. While in the elevator on the way to the appointment, Wayman is again possessed, and this time he explains that he is a Wayman from another universe.
Wayman. I didn't even connect.
We're gonna call him.
It's gonna fuck me up. Man.
We're gonna call him alternate Wayman. Okay, this is alternate Wayman.
Let's call him Raymond.
Raymond? No. Alternate Ray. Wait.
They call him. What do they call him in the movie? They call him Alpha. They call him Alpha Wayman.
Well, we're not there yet. You're getting ahead of us, man.
Alpha Way.
We will change his name to Alpha Wayman.
So for now. Okay, now that is one thing that
we're not there yet.
It's exactly it's part of the silliness of the movie. But that's the thing that I was like, but I accepted it once the silliness was more established. I accepted that terminology in the movie, but that is one thing that I fucking was like, I balked at a little bit when I heard it.
Was the
establishment of Alpha universe.
I have a defense for that. I have a great defense for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
the reasoning for calling it Alpha was very well established.
No, it's fine. It's perfectly like it is what it is. It's just It's the same thing as another thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the keyword is unnecessary.
Okay. All right.
Another.
So,
sorry.
Speaking of, oh yeah,
Can I go back a couple of shots?
Yeah, go back a couple shots.
Another great shot in the movie that's super subtle and just sets up so much is when they're entering the IRS building, and the movie is, I think, amazing at everything on a broad level, but then everything on a precise level too, because it sets up walking into the IRS building, and then it pans up to this big imposing government building with, which I think is superimposed, like it's put there very purposely, a silhouette of a flagpole,
right?
And so like that, I feel like it's broad in that it's big, imposing, scary because it's an IRS building,
right?
Precise in that it's, again, speaking of an immigrant's relation to a big government building like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And just like an immigrant that is also like, walked into a floundering fucking super hard to operate little tiny business, like the whole thing. Yeah, it's just that I've used the word a couple times already, but gravity, that is striking as shit for the character and sets the scene. And I think it sets the scene for the whole movie too, because it's a good foreshadowing and hint at because you don't really know how to take the movie early on. Like when it starts, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
You don't know exactly how goofy
that first view
be.
is a trip.
You don't know how goofy it's going to be. You don't know how serious it's going to be. You don't know exactly what you're getting into quite yet. And those shots help establish that if you're paying attention. It's
You know who wasn't paying attention? The guy who wrote these book notes, because he doesn't even mention. Like he just goes from like kung fu on a security cam. Right. He didn't even mention a security cam. Honestly, I'm ad-libbing a lot of this shit in. And then all of a sudden they're in an elevator at the IRS. So. I'm having to fill.
And that's the thing. I feel like with any really good film, the shots are everything, and they have to be. You have to experience them or have an adequate explanation of them, because they were a big part of the artistic communication of the endeavor,
Yeah. So anyway, they're in this elevator. Wayman gets possessed again, and this time, alternate Wayman explains that he is a Wayman from another universe, and who he has inhabited her husband on this Earth, and says that the multiverse. All worlds are in danger. So he gives her an earpiece. All right.
We're not getting into this yet. It's fine. Continue.
We aren't getting into this yet, but like we do have an issue here with known prop critic John Brown in the room. He doesn't like this earpiece, but anyway, he gives her an earpiece, and also the guy who wrote this. He obviously didn't pay attention to this part of the movie, because this is where she gets the earpiece. Dude that wrote this, if you're listening to this podcast, this is where she gets the earpiece. And he also writes her a note with some instructions to read when they're out of the elevator, and then he leaves Wayman's body. At this point, we get kind of a cutscene and a title card that says Part 1, Everything.
No, wait, that's not right now.
Well, according to this guy, it is.
That's not right now. She's sitting in the dining room doing taxes when it shows the
True.
It says it right now. It says it right now, Reese. It can't be wrong. This guy said it.
That's not right.
That guy, then by proxy, the internet said it, so it's
true.
So it was before the elevator, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so before this elevator, there was a title card that said Part 1.
I believe
everything. Yeah, no, it actually makes sense. She's sitting here with everything.
Because I do not know. I know that.
Yeah.
The actual when everything that shot. I absolutely recall that shot. I don't know when it happened, so I don't want to speak.
I think as many times as I've seen the movie, I can't say for sure, but I think
you're right. It actually is while she's doing taxes at the table.
I think it cuts from her saying goodbye to Joy, then back to her doing taxes, and Grandpa's eating something. And then Wayman says, Evelyn, what are you thinking about? Evelyn, what are you doing? And then boom.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Which I really like that shot too, because it's everything. And that captures the weight of the situation for her, and which that really sets the tone for that. I mean, that Evelyn is that through the whole movie, and she struggles with being that through a lot of the movie, and like that is that, and I can feel the weight of all that as a small business owner for sure. Like the weight that it would have to
Yeah.
have. That everything is just like caving in around you. The fucking like everything you've done and worked so hard, no matter what, is just like not working out. Like, and it creates the barrier for that character to become the hero she becomes.
Yeah.
The character itself does. You know?
I also like the way they use these title cards. Everything works before and after. So
Yeah.
like,
No, it's great. Use.
yeah. So like you're right, because it is when she's sitting there doing the taxes, and they're like, part one, everywhere, and it's like, or everything. Sorry, part one, everything. And it's just like everything that's happened up to that point is technically everything. Like that's her life.
Yeah.
But then the part one that they're announcing that they're getting ready to present is everything on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Like
in the universe.
Everything. Yeah. Everything in every universe, basically.
Yeah.
And then, as we dig through the movie, these different layers, you see how these title cards that do like, hey, if you're paying attention, it's everything, everywhere, all at once. It's a 3-part movie. But each title card kind of represents the things that happened before and that happened after.
Yeah.
So whether or not these title cards are representing what happened before or what happened or what's going to happen next doesn't really matter. It's all just like one big fucking machine, honestly.
Yeah. And then after that title card, I believe it cuts to them walking into the IRS.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then we get the elevator. Okay, so the next time that I say title card, it's probably going to happen sometime after. This guy's a fucking idiot.
Oh, come on, man.
Hey, nobody knows who we're
I
talking
didn't
about.
mention him by name for a reason.
for all
I
we-
knew he was a
For all
fucking
we know,
idiot.
Dustin wrote this.
Yeah, I did not read. I tried to write it actually earlier today,
Yeah.
and I realized I don't have enough time in the world to actually write my own.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I tried to write it out as I was watching the movie, and that's the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so fucking difficult, and it would take like honestly 3+ hours to do.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
in a
to
future
do-
movie,
To do worth of shit, yeah.
or maybe when I'm presenting a movie. By the way, in the future, this will be done like kind of like book club style, where we will take turns choosing and presenting a movie.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And maybe in the future, I will present a movie that I've seen so many times that I don't need a fucking
right.
cliff notes to.
That's
to
definitely going to happen for all of us. I'm
At
sure.
some
Yeah,
point,
for
we'll
sure.
just have to do it where we have no notes. We just stumble through the plot synopsis trying to correct each other.
Okay, so now we're past the elevator, and also I want to say, when they're in the elevator, Genius here forgets to mention this. He gives her the earpiece and some instructions, and he also says you can do 2 things. When you get out of this elevator, you can take a left and go to your previously scheduled audit appointment, or you can take a right and go into the janitor's closet, which he strongly recommends she goes in, and she's just like, whatever. So she obviously takes a left. She's going to meet with the auditor, and the auditor is played by a oafish version of Jamie Lee Curtis. And I got to tell you, man, this is probably the best performance I've ever seen by Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Do you guys happen to know what her name was in this movie? Did you guys
I
catch
don't
that?
recall.
Oh my God.
It's actually hilarious. We talk about how funny the names were. So you have to do some deep digging to find it, but they refer to her a couple times as Deirdre.
Yeah, Deirdre. That's right.
Okay, but her full name in the movie is Deirdre Beaubierdre.
That's great.
100%. Deirdre
Yeah.
Beaubierdre. But anyway, Deirdre's kind of going through their taxes and realizing that I'm having to ad lib a little bit here because I remember it better than the guy who wrote this, but basically finding that they are trying to deduct like a karaoke machine and
All kinds of shit.
all kinds of shit that are not related to a long
singing lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's basically established that I think he even Waylon even says at some point that his wife mistakes hobbies for businesses.
Mhm.
And anyway,
Which actually I think is that whole bit really I think is a bit of foreshadowing for the character too, and
Yeah.
kind of touches on the spirit of the movie as
Mhm.
well,
Yeah.
because it's the multiverse and it's all these multiple versions of these characters,
Mhm.
and in this version where she's her shittiest self, she's still trying fervently to find something that is
That she's good at.
that she's good at.
Yeah.
She's trying to find the shtick.
Yeah.
But And also, like, yeah, it's fucking fair enough. Like, doing because like that's the thing. It shows too later in the movie, like when she's doing karaoke, like it's an event, party. It's a fucking tax write-off.
Yeah.
That's promotional shit for your
Brown,
business.
owner proprietor, master of the tax write-off.
I am not the master, but I mean, it's legit. Like, it's a good example of like her just not doing it the right way.
Yeah.
That's all it is, and that's what Jamie Lee Curtis's character is like. Hey, dude, just come on, figure it out.
So Deirdre Beaudeirdre as the
We added.
I added an extra Deirdre. It's obviously a name game pun. It's fine. Sure. Deirdre says that these actions could be construed as fraud, and as the meeting continues, Evelyn decides to read the note that she was given in the elevator by the alternate Waymond, and it has a few things written on there. One of them is to switch your shoes to the opposite feet, and I think that number 2 is to pretend or imagine that you're in the janitor's closet.
Close your eyes and pretend that you walk to the janitor's closet.
Yep. Yeah. So she does this, and as a result, she ends up in another one of her bodies in an alternate universe that is in the janitor's closet.
Here's a question. Did she push the button?
She did push the button.
On the earpiece?
In this particular scene.
Or are we sure? Because that's a big fucking deal, actually.
Yeah. She did push the button in this particular scene. Okay, and so John Brown is gonna.
Oh no!
I can play the movie right now on my phone.
We should.
She did click the button in this particular.
Did the note say to click the button?
It did not say to click the button.
That's even worse. That's even fucking worse, man. All right. Anyway, continue.
Did the note?
He might have told her in the elevator to press the button.
The note might. There's some. We need to get some clarification.
If there's a button press, we can continue.
Okay, we're gonna continue. So next thing you know, she's in the janitor's closet. But this isn't the janitor's closet in her world. This is the janitor's closet in another world that is very similar. And in this janitor's closet, she's now having a conversation with the alternate Waymond. He's in the closet with her. Okay, so as they're having this conversation, it's kind of this tumultuous situation where she's kind of in two places at once. Mm-hmm. And so there's this weird happening where she is kind of going back and forth between being herself, sitting in front of the tax lady, Deirdre Beaudeirdre, and being in this closet having a conversation with alternate Waymond.
Yes.
And the tax version, Deirdre Beaudeirdre is basically threatening at this point to repossess their laundromat.
I mean, in that scene, that character is trying really hard. So like they have to get their shit together. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. So while they're in the closet, this is where Waymond explains that he's from a universe called the Alphaverse. So, the guy who did the Cliff Notes was really bad here. So basically, I think it's here. He kind of explains that Evelyn in his world was kind of a
super badass genius.
Breached the first person that thought that there could be other universes and learned how to kinetically link her mind to her other personas and other universes. This was kind of explained here.
And I think the threat was established in that scene too.
That's coming up. He does cover that. So they were able to master multi-universal teleportation using a mapping program that tracks branch universes. And
okay, satisfied.
I did forget to mention when they were in the elevator coming up to the IRS and Waymond's body gets kind of possessed by Ultimate Waymond. I do remember
Waymond. Alpha Way.
Okay, we're now going to call him Alpha Way.
A-Way.
Alpha Waymond, because he is now Alpha Waymond, because we've establish the Alphaverse. So he puts this headset on her, and he pulls out a device that looks like basically a cell phone, and it does say something about alternate, like Altaverse, alternate path. Something.
He's basically syncing her. He gives her the two earbuds.
And that's actually interesting. Like, I like what they did there with that. And that was a good use of... Still doesn't explain enough, but it's a good use of it. That the syncing involves her replaying her whole life.
Yeah.
To, like, create...
When she becomes synced with the system, she has like a quick, 30-second, probably not even that long.
Which actually makes sense.
Every significant moment to her in her life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's super relevant for how this thing functions through the rest of the film. The presupposed technology they're in, having that contextual point for every single point in her life. Like, that was actually really good.
Yeah.
Still... Yeah.
It kind of sets up every alternate universe.
Yeah, exactly. It gives the bridge, and like that was a good use of that device.
Yeah.
No, it was a very good scene. So he's explaining that while they were able to master multiverse teleportation using a mapping program that tracks branch universes, in addition to teleporting into the body of an alternate universe version of yourself, you can also learn the skills and knowledge of any alt universe person that you inhabit.
Plus Kung Fu.
Well, that is a skill.
I don't think all of them have
a
Kung
default.
Fu.
No, I think there's a default setting of Kung Fu. I explicitly remember a default Kung Fu.
We're going to get into that as we get into specific realities.
Of the main characters,
So, in order to teleport, the traveler must do something out of the ordinary. Thus, why Evelyn had to switch her shoes.
Which is a cool mechanic too.
No, that's actually one of the coolest mechanics in the entire
that does
entire
it
film,
does set
honestly.
up the silliness of what's happening.
I think on first viewing, I got a little confused and thought like, so you have to switch your shoes every time, and it wasn't until second viewing it's like, oh, he's just giving her an example of something random thing to do that triggers the switch.
Yeah, and I'm totally skipping ahead here, but in the conversation about the earpiece, like you think about, obviously, I'm probably skipping way too far ahead, but like early on, they have the earpiece, and to me, the earpiece is a communication to, like a group in the Alphaverse that's kind of like calculating a specific thing that you can do to definitely get to where you need to go.
Yeah.
Whereas
they have the technology mastered. Like it shows.
But as things progress, they're able to go a little more off script and just do random. Yes, she is able to go.
That's actually a good observation too. That it's mostly
it's her specifically. We don't see anybody other than her or. I don't want to. Okay.
Well, you know what? Actually,
we're gonna. I mean, we'll get back to this. We'll get back to this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, in order to teleport, they must do something crazy to harmonize themselves with all universe bodies. He says an evil, multi-dimensional traveler named Jobu Tupaki. Dude, the names in this movie are so fucking good.
Yeah,
I really want to know the origin of that name because I
actually found that out today.
Oh yeah,
I actually found that out today. So the one of the directors, there are two of them, right?
Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert.
I think it was Kwan. He was looking up names for his wife was pregnant. They were looking up names. And they found some name for the baby that was just like ridiculous, and it sounded silly. And he's like, "I like that name because it sounds silly."
Yeah.
And like it wasn't Jobu Tupaki, but it was something like that. It was like the same amount of syllables and weird. And like he literally just chose a name because it sounded silly.
Yeah.
Like that was the whole thing. There's literally nothing to it other than it just sounds
silly.
Sounds silly as hell.
Which,
okay.
I think it can be tracked to the movie Major League.
Yeah.
Because in the movie Major League, which is this like silly baseball movie comedy from the 80s, there's like there's one dude who's like a huge like he studies like witchcraft or something like that, and he worships this being named Jobu. Yeah, he's yeah. And like there's many mentions to Jobu throughout the whole thing. And it's not witchcraft. What's the thing from like Louisiana? What not witchcraft, but Voodoo. Yeah, he's like the voodoo guy. Jobu the voodoo. Yeah. Anyway, I think that part of it stems from that. And he just added the Tupac.
Yeah.
That's my own theory. I didn't get this from anywhere.
I think the directors have said they're a big fan of Major League and the rapper Tupac. So they kind of combined those two and got Jobu Tupac.
I feel like you just made that up, but I will accept it because that means that I was right the whole time. And so basically, so there's this bad person named Jobu Tupaki who intends to bring chaos to the multiverse, and that Evelyn is the only one with enough innate goodness to stop Jobu.
Intends to bring chaos is actually like not at all accurate either.
No,
it's the absolute opposite of chaos.
Yeah,
says,
but I believe it's
says.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
In the movie, it may have been like there's doom. I'm criticizing that if that's what the assessment says.
There's just this guy. This guy's a horrible writer.
Yeah, he is because chaos is not the idea.
The whole movie is chaos.
It's how everyone is viewing her. Well, basically, it's how Evelyn is viewing her.
Right.
Because the Alphaverse is Evelyn's brain.
Right.
And then so she is seeing
Joe just as far as like what she's trying to bring. She's not bringing or attempting to bring chaos.
That's true. Yeah.
She's attempting to bring the opposite of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, or actually, I have a note about that too. There's an impression that that's what she's bringing, but later it doesn't really seem like she's trying to. She might not actually be trying to bring that for the multiverse.
Yeah.
So it says in this Cliff Notes that I'm reading that he notes that Jobu has been going through the multiverse, killing versions of Evelyn, but thinks that Evelyn is the chosen one. That's okay.
This Evelyn being
generally.
That's it's not kind of how that's not exactly how it went down, but basically that's the Cliff Notes version. So Cliff Note guy, I'll give you a thumbs up here. Mm-hmm. You got the gist of it. At that moment when they're in the closet, and mind you, this is a hard thing to follow, right? Like, so they're in the closet, but
everything we've been talking about is in the closet.
Yeah, everything's in the closet. Well, she is also getting bitched at by a fucking IRS agent about her taxes.
She's splitting her attention between each because
she is splitting her attention between these two things.
Yeah.
So, at that moment, an alternate version of Deirdre Beaudeirdre appears and murders both people in the closet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brutally.
With I think is that the scene where she puts the thing in?
At that point, she already has it on her head. And later, a different version.
Okay, yeah. So there's a
she does have something on her head that looks weird. Yes, that is a good point.
It's a tax receipt with a circle scribbled around something.
Yep. Yeah. There's like a smiley face, or it almost looks like a smiley face at first glance.
It almost looks like I don't know, kind of like a pastry of some kind.
And this is Deirdre we're talking about.
Deirdre, yes. Deirdre. And I believe so. Technically, she kills Waymond and then wounds Eleanor, and then
but they both revert to their normal body. They're basically out of these alt-verse bodies.
Yes.
Back into, and so boom, this happens. She gets murdered. Boom, she's right back into this seat, taking words from the tax lady. That's kind of where we regroup. So she awakens to Deirdre basically saying that you can go. I'm going to give you until the end of the night to get your necessary documentation. There was also a moment in there that kind of got skipped over where she said that she was the tax lady was kind of talking about like what you needed to have and all that, and like she kind of played the like, well, you're using these big words I don't understand. It's like, well, you were supposed to bring your daughter to help translate
this in a very patronizing. You were supposed to bring your daughter.
No, it was very patronizing. And so you kind of get the sense here, like, oh, okay, so this is something that Joy was supposed to come do, but like they got in this little tiff, and so that's why she's not here, and so they're trying to do it without her, and it's going poorly.
Yeah.
But anyway, she lets her go, and she said that you can come back by the end of close, basically, with the necessary documentation, and that they'll be okay. So Evelyn, who's like, they're kind of walking away from the desk at this point at the IRS, and Evelyn's still kind of disoriented because she just, in her mind, kind of got like attacked and murdered by
Deirdre.
a person who was just giving her.
It would absolutely be a super disorienting experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she's
even without that.
Yeah, so they're kind of walking back to the elevator, and the tax lady, I don't know, was she wanted a glass of water or whatever, kind of got up from her desk, starts walking towards that way too, and like, so Evelyn sees this tax lady looking, and by the way, the I gotta give props. Jamie Lee Curtis, like, she kind of like put on some weight and like
I think she's got a fat suit with fake boobs.
Yes,
like
the way they did it, like, she looks like fucking angry. She looks like my grandma.
In that scene, she was specifically angry looking.
Yes,
she's got great.
I think
she's
she was
like
trying to give her something. Maybe she was ignoring.
Well, her.
So Evelyn's like super disoriented, and
I did.
You did it.
What?
I said Eleanor.
You said Eleanor. Oh my god!
The first time I said it. God damn.
Holy fuck. Okay. If anybody ever says Eleanor, we're talking about Evelyn.
Yeah.
So Evelyn like sees Deirdre kind of coming towards them as they're heading towards the elevator, and freaks out, and basically, as they meet up, she like punches her in the face.
Yeah, she's ready to fight. She's thinking she's gonna have to throw
in
down.
her mind, she's still like, this is the same person that attacked her in the closet. She doesn't know what's going on. She's disoriented as fuck. So she punches her in the face. So in response to this, Deirdre's like, you fucking bitch, I'm gonna call security. You just assaulted an IRS agent. This is
big
not
mistake.
Okay. Yeah,
and
big
then
mistake.
And then we see that she was walking to return a cart that they had left in her cubicle. That's why she was coming.
Okay, cool.
Details.
At this point, Wayland, so security's coming. So Alpha Wayland then, Wayland? Waymond. Wayland. Oh, we got multiple names going for all these characters. So Alpha Waymond, Alpha Waymond then has to inhabit the body of current Waymond because all the security is coming, and this is when we learn that this is actually a kung fu movie.
Yeah, no, it is. And this moment in this scene, I was like, okay, they have to create something that completely fucks up the tempo of everything that's going on, because like there's no way that in this life, unless something like crazy happens, that this character is going to be able to just walk away from what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Like Alpha Way, Ralpha coming to save the day here. Like, you're going to do kung fu on all these guys and fuck shit up. That's great, but like, how is this character going to like go about her normal life after you kick the fucking shit out of like government employees here? Like, how could she go on from this? And I'm pretty sure they covered the bases later, but that was my thought here. Like, okay, they better have something for this, because like there's no way this person's life is ever going to track after this moment that's going to coincide with any functioning story. But no, kung fu movie for sure.
No. This is also the scene that made me think Jackie Chan was supposed to be Waymond. Because
for sure. This is
back to that real quick. I just like the guy from the Goonies and whatnot that played here,
Dr. Jones.
He fucking killed it. He was phenomenal. He killed it absolutely. But yeah, like with the idea of Jackie Chan, I think it actually would have been. I actually think it would have been cool for Jackie Chan to do the movie.
Yeah.
Because I can't recall, and I'm not a kung fu movie fanatic, Jackie Chan fanatic by any means, but I can't remember a movie of this stature and gravity that he's done, and I think he could have pulled it off. Yeah. And I feel like that would have been cool for Jackie Chan to have done this movie. Because I do think he would have been perfect for it. Because he is an endearing, just like oblivious, like kind of goofball in most of his movies. That is the character. I mean, that is the husband character. And so, like, I feel like
he's also, like, Jackie Chan is, like, a very charming and kind of cute guy, like the Waymond character.
Not to get too into the weeds, but I did actually, because you had mentioned that, so I did a little bit of research on the Jackie Chan angle. And Well, they have worked together before.
Michelle or
yeah. Her and Jackie Chan have worked together before. But she has been quoted before as somebody asked her about Jackie Chan once, and she basically said that he was a chauvinistic pig and was a piece of shit. And so, like, I think there's not a lot of love lost there. And also, there were reports that when she got nominated for the Best Actress nominee, he like sent her a text or a message or something that said, "Congratulations on the nominee. Did you know that they offered it to me before they offered it to you?"
Don't make me hate Jackie Chan.
The internet says Jackie Chan's an asshole.
I love Jackie Chan.
And she responded with, "Thank you for passing."
Yeah.
So
nice.
Yeah, there's something to be said there, and that was per Michelle Yeoh. So take it as you will.
We're not saying it, but apparently there's
Jackie Chan.
Apparently, there's no love lost there.
So much of his like signature action is all like very kind of improvised, defensive.
Right.
Like kind of a lot of his fight is he's like he's kind of playing a character that's like doesn't know what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
He's like almost something. He's even played a few times where he's like new to karate. Like it's just boom, he can do it. And so like that kind of the setting.
That would make him a natural for this movie, but also I think it's a better movie because it's not him.
Oh yeah,
because then it would just be like a Jackie Chan.
We've had that conversation before, and I do agree with you. But I had that thought. That would have been cool to see him do something better than what he's done. But apparently, he's an asshole that can't do that. So
So this is the first like kind of kung fu scene, and
it's great. It's super.
I love it. Yeah. It's
I
like
love the prop.
Assault with a fanny pack.
Love the prop. It's super good.
Yeah, it's assault with a fanny pack for a while, and then at some point he like sits on a sofa and reaches behind him and grabs like rocks.
Oh, he doesn't even sit on a sofa. He does like
he just like he slides back into like a chair and rests against him, just knowing
that there's a fish tank behind him and grabs rocks.
It's a super
and puts a handful of rocks into the fanny pack and like zips it back up.
It's
and
a super smooth scene. Everything's supernatural. Of course, it's the kung fu scene, so everything's supernatural, everything's super fluid. Yeah, he just runs back in, knowing exactly where this is, and just casually one-handed with the guys he's half beating the shit out of already, like watching him do it. Like, rocks in the fanny pack, fucking like level up. Like, all right, now you're really gonna get the fucking shit kicked out of you.
Yeah.
Fight. The tone of the fight changed after that. It was a fantastic scene. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is absolutely where you know it's a kung fu movie, and that's when I'm like, all right, this is like the kung fu.
It's one of like many surprises in the movie, because the whole time they're taking you down like a rabbit hole, like especially if you go into it with like the first time I saw it, I just knew that like it was supposed to be a good movie. That's all I knew. And that's all I need to know. Like, okay, I heard it was good. Let's go.
I didn't know anything when we watched it.
That's awesome.
So like I start out watching it with my wife. It's like, oh fuck, okay, did I just take her into a foreign film? Like I'm gonna have to read this whole thing, which is fine. I love foreign films, but I didn't know going in. Like I should have done more research. And then all of a sudden, okay, now they're doing a little English, and now it's like they kind of got this like Matrix alternate world thing going. Okay, and then oh wow, now it's a kung fu movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, very like some of the best kung fu. Like sequences, like just a really good sequence, and then all this action kind of in the story, kind of it kind of alerts Jobu, like she realized like, oh, there's some shit going on over here. So Jobu's making her first appearance in this. Yeah. We're still in a fucking office at the IRS, by the way. Yeah.
Honestly, I think we're still in the first 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, we are. We're moving along here. So. Anyway, Jobu shows up, and you learn that Jobu is none other than Joy, the daughter from the Alphaverse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Alpha Joy.
And there's a sequence where alternate Wayman explains that basically, like Joy was kind of a product of, Jobu was a product of Joy being pushed too hard because. Her mother saw that she had these skills and
potential
and verse jumping or whatever the hell they call it. And that's how she came to be.
Yeah. Has experienced, owned, and seen everything.
Yeah, she's able to travel the multiverse at will, experience all realities simultaneously, and alter reality.
Yeah.
The criticism and multiversal awareness drove her mad, and I think they said it fractured her mind.
The criticism? I think the multiversal awareness is what fractured her mind.
Yeah.
Not the criticism, like, oh man, Mom, you're really a bitch. That's what fucking was a straw on the camel's
But
back.
anyway, it left her with this feeling, this belief that nothing is important given the infinite possibilities out there and the brevity of life. So basically, if anything is possible and there are infinite realities, how is the one that I'm in special? Is kind of it makes sense.
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters. Nothing matters.
Everything is there and nothing matters at all.
And John, I know that this holds this holds like a near and dear.
This whole thing is very, it's an important, it's very along the lines of exactly how I feel philosophically and intellectually, and I think it's I think it's important shit. I think it's important work, and that's what I love about this movie is that I do feel like it's an important piece of work.
Yeah.
It's an idea that has always existed, but I think should be. It's nice that there is finally a very accepted, acclaimed exploration of that idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Like there it's not that there's not been explorations of the idea before, but it's very nice that there's a very super well received exploration of that idea. So
this is bad cliff noting, but it says here that she developed a weapon that alternate Wayman believes will destroy the universe. It's very vague and doesn't really say what it is at this point.
Yeah.
But he hopes Evelyn can stop this.
And I have a note. I do have a note about that once we get to it for sure.
Sure.
Of what this weapon, if it's a weapon,
Mm-hmm.
or actually what it was really intended for.
Yeah, and she does say what it's intended for, but that's...
She said what it's intended for, but it's not... what it's intended for, I don't think, lines up with the implied, especially from this guy's, assessment of the film, what it can actually do. Because I think what it was really built for is much different than the beginning tone of the film, at least.
Yeah.
All right, so where we end up is alternate Deirdre inhabits Deirdre's body with sumo wrestler abilities and attacks.
Yeah, and that's the super physical disparity too, because there's an establishment of you getting the skills, but in this instance is a great example of just getting apparently the physical strength too.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's like muscle memory.
So
It's not just physical
actually,
strength.
there is a shot of her muscles changing physically, and that's where some of my bits about, because I love this film. I adore this film, absolutely. But I will always have notes and take notes if I can take notes.
Yeah.
And have notes if I can have them. And it's one of these situations where she gets to just suck up all of her, she changes her physical muscle mass, which is a thing that's easily established.
Do we see that? Do we actually see that?
Yeah, you do. There's a scene where her stomach sucks up. It's a profile
I
shot.
think I think she's not physically changing. It's like a posture thing, because Deirdre is literally her shoulders.
Yeah, she's
are
frumpy, but it's
down.
very drastic.
Anyone can kind of do that. I think.
Okay though. What did we say earlier, that she's in a fast suit, right?
I assume. I don't.
Okay,
know.
so
Yeah.
if she's in a fast suit, couldn't suck that up. It's a fast suit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So,
I don't know that she. I don't know that she.
I don't know
That's an
either.
assumption.
But I just there's a big disparity there.
Yeah.
Because
I think the idea is that she's adapting the physicality
right
and the body control of a wrestler.
Right, but the body, that's the thing. That's the funky thing about this premise, which I love. But the funky thing about the premise is that it's what's actually being swapped is skill sets.
Yeah.
And physical matter. So, and that's the thing, if there is a precedent of physical matter being swapped between multi-dimensions, And if that's the case, then what I'm saying actually that she did make sense because physical matter was being swapped in the form of like the fat from her body being swapped with muscle. But if that didn't happen, then there isn't a precedent set in the film because otherwise, like it's just physical matter and the knowledge, and that doesn't account for how that Deidre in that moment can just like, I mean, she's real, like she's super fucking, she's wrestler mode. She has the strength, you know.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, moving on.
sorry.
Wrestler Deidre shows up.
Kicking
And
ass.
alternate Waymond instructs Evelyn how to tap into a universe where she is a martial arts master. And basically, like as we said, if you're tapping into another world, you got to do something weird. And he gets the he puts the call into the van in the Alphaverse, and they're like, "You need to declare your love for Deirdre."
I don't think we actually said it, but there is a van in the office.
There's an actual van.
The
yes.
setting for him
I
outside of this verse is in the back of this super 80s movie sci-fi
it's
thing.
basically
Two
the
guys
A
operating
team.
computers arbitrarily tapping the shit out of the keyboard.
The A team is on Alphaverse.
Yeah.
It's a mobile like unit.
Yeah, he's got two guys and a driver just like making all this shit happen, and he's just like, plug me in, hit me.
Yeah.
Like, very
They're telling you this is what you need to do to get here, you know, like they're telling you all the things. So she needs to declare her genuine love for Deirdre. So Deirdre,
that was a good one too.
Yeah.
That was a good mechanic.
And
the first bit.
And this is again, we're using the press of the button. Evelyn, like she's being attacked by Deirdre, and like right as she's about to get assaulted, she says the words "I love you" and pushes the button, and there's like this panic where Waylon is like, no, like basically he realizes like he didn't explain it well enough that like you need to mean it, and so
the light on the headset turns yellow instead of green.
Which I've been bad at explaining this, but every time that she's hit the button so far, it's turned green.
Yeah.
John stepped out for a second, so he can't
complain about it.
Can't talk shit about that. John hates the headset. I'm sure he's gonna tell you himself later, but he hates the headset. He doesn't think it's necessary for the movie. So anyway, it turns yellow. So where am I at here? Blah, 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 blah. So she basically, where did she go? Tapping into love. Waymond abandons her, thinking he made a mistake. Okay. So basically, she tries to do it. It doesn't work. And as a result, this is actually the part I kind of dislike. Like, if there's one thing I like, the fact that, so Deirdre's attacking her. He's like, you need to profess your love for her and mean it. And like, she's just like, I love you, and hits a button and goes somewhere else.
Yeah. Some shitty version. Like
is that the one where it's like her, like in a van with him?
Yeah.
Like
so
I think it's
that actually
in a van.
After taxes, they just went
with
home.
Waylon in an alternate universe where
I like this part of it, and it's something we haven't talked about yet. And it's the expression of how the technology and the concept actually works. Like they establish it earlier in the scene in conversation that it has to be like as far away from your current path that you are is the most dramatic, you know. And so when she's the early stages of her trying to master the skill, she can't get that far away from her original cluster. So it's like just nonsense. Like this whole thing relies on getting as far away from your set path as possible.
Yeah.
The crazy thing you're doing is supposed to be like the thing that's least likely for you to do. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, which is going to be the craziest thing that you can do. So it's going to give you the best skills and assets in these situations.
So the guy who wrote this fucked me up because he just skipped a bunch of shit. But basically, she hits the button. She says, I love you. She doesn't mean it. So she ends up going to this alternate reality where she's in a van with another version of Wayland, and he's talking about
they went home after doing the taxes. That's all. It's just a very close alternate universe.
Yeah. Like where he's basically she's like they're kind of like maybe we shouldn't have got married and all this. And they're talking about their marriage and
nothing useful in a combat situation.
Yeah. So this is the part I don't like. So she comes back, and at this point, alternate Wayland, Alpha Wayland is like, you know what, you're the wrong person. I don't like that he bailed on her so early. Like it seemed kind of premature. Like,
that seemed pretty typical for the story.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But he does bail on her here, basically saying that I need to keep looking for the right Deirdre or the right Evelyn. You're not the right one. Blah blah blah. So he kind of bails on her
with the amount. With the scope of the story and the length of this thing, like I think they couldn't wait any longer for that scene to happen, because that's a motivational thing for the character, and they couldn't like do it later. Like for that whole motivational thing to resolve, like it has to happen relatively quickly in this scope of story. So they just had to jam it in there. Like you don't want to.
This is I can bring up my defense of the Alphaverse right now because this is Alpha Wayman.
Yep.
Because I think each universe, alternate reality, major alternate reality, obviously, it shows like dozens of them. But like each major alternate reality, I think represents a different mindset or train of thought of Evelyn's. And this is the one that's like how Evelyn views herself and the world.
Yeah.
So like she is the smartest, most brilliant person in the world that's underappreciated and,
Right. And also
her daughter has just as much potential but is wasting it.
Right.
Her husband like just worships her and is fighting for her. Her dad is like an evil general.
Yeah.
And so like I think that it's her self-opinion of like she's a failure and wasted. That's why that way.
Yeah, and he actually does make the comment at some point that he's seen her die like thousands of times or whatever. He's seen like many versions of her die, and she's always murdered.
Yeah.
So basically he bails on her, and then she's left to fend for herself, and she kind of digs deep and actually finds it in herself
she needed to be abandoned.
She needed to be abandoned.
It was an important story mechanic.
Well, she finds it to say, I love you, and actually mean it. And that basically allows her to tap into an alternate martial artist skill.
Was it the actress?
This is the alternate reality in which she didn't go to America with Wayman.
Yeah.
And then gets assaulted in an alleyway, and so trains to become an martial artist.
Right.
And then becomes an actor.
Yeah. An actress, which the actress.
And this comes up again and again.
Yeah.
It's
super important.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
This one comes up multiple times, and the thing I love about this particular alternate reality is she becomes Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she is basically herself in this particular reality.
Yeah. Have either of you seen the movie In the Mood for Love?
I have not.
I haven't yet. No.
This is the entire style, including some of the editing with like the I don't know what it's called, but it's coming out slow motion where it like blurs and stuff.
Yeah,
it's taken like directly from In the Mood for Love, so it's like very much an homage to that as well.
Okay,
which is not at all an action movie, but as far as the actor,
well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like this, this movie is an action movie, but it's everything else too. So,
so
all at once.
So she goes to this alternate reality. She learns martial arts. She taps back in, and everything slows down for her. They kind of have this sweet slow motion spot where there's like I can't remember if it's a hand or a foot that's about ready to pummel her, and she just kind of like lightly taps it away, and then just does some badass slow motion kung fu shit, and defeats
with
Deirdre.
Awesome like score change.
It's the
music is great.
Yeah, we can't recreate it in a podcast, but
I'll do the.
she defeats the alternate Deirdre with these newfound moves, and but is then arrested along with her husband.
Yeah,
the actual
Wayman.
Wayman.
Back to what I was saying, like you gotta like cover this shit, or else it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
because this person is not getting out of this.
Not Alphaverse Wayman, the normal universe Wayman.
Yeah, the normal universe Wayman. And so this is when we see we get to see Joe Boo's power for the first time. So they're kind of being arrested, carried away by police, and Jobu shows up, I think, with a pig.
Yeah, and like an Elvis outfit.
I really like. I love the visual nature of her through the film because it just.
Oh, she's awesome.
I mean, it also establishes some of the stuff that like annoys me in the film.
Mm-hmm.
But it's perfect for what it is because it's just, and it finally really sets the tone for the silliness and hilarity of the film once she's on the scene because that's when you really know nothing actually means anything anymore and it is just what it is. So just write it,
Yeah. I think also Jobu has like all of the funniest moments in the movie, but this like action scene might be like the funniest scene of the movie.
Right.
It's in the
hilarious, and
I can't remember what the exact quote was, but the police.
Yeah, ma'am, you can't be here.
Yeah.
Are you saying I can't be here, or I'm not allowed to be here? Because as you can see, I can be here.
Right. Yeah.
I think what you're trying to say is that I'm not allowed to be here.
Right.
And then she kills the police in some gruesomely cartoonish ways, which includes like turning one of them into some pop confetti.
Yeah.
No, and then I love that ridiculousness of it.
Yeah.
And real quick too, like there's been some really good performances by who plays the daughter because there's some really good performances up to this point from her, and she does really good in this film.
She was also nominated for best.
Her last name is Sue.
Stephanie Sue.
We've talked so
Stephanie
much
Sue?
about
Is it Stephanie.
About the main character.
I said it earlier.
She's done like in this film is a great showcase of her abilities as well.
Yeah.
Like
no, she's fantastic.
Like the scene after she gets called fat, like that emotional reaction. Leaving that scene,
Stephanie
Sue
is
super
powerful,
okay.
HSU. Yeah.
So a terrified Evelyn tries to tap into a power to fight Jobu, but in her panic, kind of goes off the grid. I think they say, and she ends up in a world where everyone there has evolved to have hot dogs for fingers,
which is hilarious because no one could evolve. To have hot dogs for fingers. There's no fucking way.
It's infinite realities means everything happens.
They wrap it up later in a very loose but acceptable way. But it's the sheer ridiculousness of that is legendary. Like there's no way any world could evolve for anybody to have hot dogs.
And by the way, this is fucking hilarious too.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
I forgot to mention, like it's gonna come back around, but when Deirdre Beaudeirdre is initially giving her shit about how poorly she's kept her taxes,
right?
She like kind of looks behind her and like notions to some like awards that she has behind her.
Yeah.
And like it looks like there are like 4 of them, and it looks like a series of like plaques with butt plugs on top of them.
Yeah.
And she's like, You don't win these without having dealt with some bullshit or something like that. And like that is like the first like really good laugh because like everybody knows what that is by looking at it.
Oh yeah. It's just super on those of the IRS.
Yeah.
And
It's also I think it's the kind of laugh where you're going like the movie doesn't know what those are. And then later you find out the movie knows exactly what those are.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Don't know why I mentioned it here, but I just thought that we kind of skipped over that, and I thought that was important.
The guy, like, that's a very like, it's a yuck.
So things aren't going well. She goes to Hot Dog Land. Says they're only saved when Jobu takes a special interest in this Evelyn.
Jobu.
Sharing some of her experiences with her and showing Evelyn a glimpse of her in game. So this is kind of where she's like. There's actually some really good sequences here that like get skipped over, but like there's this moment where Evelyn like realizes like, okay, like you're the reason that my daughter never calls me, and you're the reason that she thinks that she's a lesbian, and it's just it's actually one of my favorite scenes in the film. She's like, wait a minute, hold the fuck up, like in your world, really, you're still stuck on the fact that I like girls. Like seriously, of all the shit that's going on, like that's still it's a really really good
with
scene.
the knowledge of the infinite potential that you embody in this story, like you're still like this character.
I think it's also kind of establishing that like that is such a ridiculous thing that somebody would still be hung up on. That like it's not. It almost feels like we're not gonna try and. This isn't like the Green Book of like homophobia for parents. Like no,
Right.
that's ridiculous.
Right.
You need to get over that. Like
Right.
it's a very fun way of handling that topic. I feel.
Yeah,
like.
for sure.
So, suddenly, so Evelyn, she shows Evelyn a glimpse of her end game. Are we there yet? Is that when she actually?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Suddenly, Alpha versus Gong Gong. Ambushes Jobu. This is like Grandpa and like a jet powered fucking wheel.
That was part of the establishment of my little bit of annoyance with what's happening in this movie. The jetpack shit. Like,
But I think if you look at it, it's all made up of like keyboards and like blenders and stuff. It's supposed to. I believe it's supposed to be like he rebuilt it from.
yeah, that's fine. But we still the thing that they never they never do in this movie that pisses me off, and it's a great example of that. There's no handling of the transference of physical material in this movie outside of the two like super savant god beings that get established in this story. They're the ones that can do that, and there's never an establishment of that outside of that. I just feel like they should, because they just do it. Mm-hmm. But there's such a discrepancy, and there's such a focus on like the scope of it in this story for those characters, like what it means for those characters and how powerful it is with the characters involved, that it's just like it creates annoyance that the minor characters can just do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're talking about the people that can do it are fucking God, basically. But, like, these other jerk-offs, like, there's never an instance of handling the earpieces or the stupid jetpack fucking wheelchair this guy ends up with. Like, you know.
Well, yeah, I think it's all the people from the Alphaverse taking control of their bodies. But you're saying, how do the people in the normal universe get the earbuds? Is that what you're saying?
There's no handling of the transference of physical material.
Yeah.
These people just have earbuds.
Yeah.
This guy just has a rocket wheelchair. Like, it doesn't make like what the presentation of the process is a transference of consciousness and gaining of skills and shit like that. But then they just have earbuds. There's no like.
I believe there, and this isn't technically a defense or forgiveness or anything, but I believe there is a quote from Daniel Kwan saying one of the big inspirations for like the sci-fi aspects of the movie was like he was watching Terminator and how like realizing how like the time travel makes zero sense in Terminator. There's like no logic to anything in that movie. No,
and again, it is handled, and that's the thing. It is handled. It is handled by the default no reason nature and nothing matters nature of this movie. But as flawlessly as they handle so many things,
this is a good time to point out that this movie is accompanied by a companion book titled "A Vast Pointless Gyration of Radioactive Rocks and Gas in Which You Happen to Occur."
Yeah.
And it collects the philosophical, scientific, and art-based research that Kwan and Scheinert compiled into a guide for the cast and crew about the multiverse, nihilism, empathy, fatigue, and other ideas in this film. And there was even a quote that he said, "I'm bummed when a movie has science fiction but doesn't go into the science at all, or just actively brushes over it." And basically, he felt that was the case with his movie, but they just didn't have enough room to fit it all in.
You can't.
That makes sense because it's a 2-hour and 12-minute movie. Yeah. And they got to the meat of it.
No. And I totally agree with that. And I accept that completely. They can't have the room to do all that. And that's where, like, they presented two things that fulfill the same function mechanically in the film at the same time. They presented the random action and the earbuds.
Yeah.
Everything in the movie, as far as the functionality of this shit, was really based on randomness, and that's true for this. The pure core of the film is just the randomness, like the random action. That is the important mechanism. in my opinion, there's an extra mechanism. The extra mechanism is the sci-fi prop. The extra mechanism is the prop. Like, they created the thing that creates the situations and is always present in every single situation that the other mechanism is in, but the other one just doesn't make any sense because they don't handle that. Like, in the God characters that they establish, it's all just the randomness. Like, that's what fuels everything, the knowledge, the vision of everything. And they have this extra thing, and it's like, in a previous discussion, you had talked about the fact that, like, it is a story mechanism, and I appreciate that. And that's my bit, is that, like, they already had it. Yeah. They already had it. They didn't need that thing. They didn't need the object to convey the idea. They already had the idea in essence, and they created an extra thing for assholes like me to get hung up on. And they're like, God damn it, like, you didn't need to do that because you already had it.
Yeah, you get hung up on shit.
Thing,
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gong Gong in his his rocket wheelchair ambushes Jobu. Jobu decides to journey to the Alphaverse to confront them there. So meanwhile, alternate Wayman returns to Wayman's body, realizing that he was right about Evelyn, and argues with the alternate Gong Gong about what they should do. Alternate Gong Gong wants to have Joy killed while Jobu is distracted, because that will block one more universe that she can access, and you kind of get the sense that this is kind of a common practice. You see a version of Joy, you kill her because that's one less universe she can access.
Yeah.
Alternate Women opposes this, believing Evelyn can save everyone. Ultimately, Evelyn decides to side with alternate Wayman, and alternate Gong Gong calls in people from Alphaverse to kill the trio, believing they have all been infected, and that they're worried that Evelyn eventually is going to become just like Jobu. And this is kind of the moment he says that eventually, if I don't stop you, you're going to become just like Jobu. And he didn't put this down here, but I think that was
making the same assumption, like this similar assumption to the other character, the Evelyn character. Earlier.
Yes,
but this actually triggers something, I think, in Evelyn, where she realizes, like, yes, like, in order to stop her, I have to become like her.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the only way. And like he somehow the guy, the jackass that wrote this, like failed to like put that point in here. And I think it's a very important point that that is like a realization. Like, you're right. Like, yeah, I have to become like her. How will I ever defeat her if I don't become like her?
Which is foreshadowing to points later in the film too.
Yeah.
So anyway, in order to defeat them, Evelyn ends up drawing experiences from doubles in various universes, where this is where we start to see, I've said before to you both after you watch the movie, like, there aren't a lot of long shots in this movie. It's very much shot like kind of like a music video, where it's a lot of short, very like small clips of scenes.
Yeah.
And so she doubles in various universes where she's basically like a martial artist, movie star, a singer, a hibachi grill cook. Also revealed to be a universe where one of her coworkers has a raccoon called, he says Raccacooey, but I'm pretty sure it's Raccacoonie in the movie.
It is Raccacoonie,
under his chef's hat to help him cook in a parody of Ratatouille, a maid, and a sign spinner. Combining all these abilities allows her to be a formidable fighter.
And they all know Kung Fu.
She's combining them.
It's fucking hilarious, because that's the thing. I just like sweep by that because it's like a video. It's like, here's her like very small snippets of scenes of her being these various things. Yeah, it's some of the best parts of the movie, honestly.
It's great. It's a great little sub movie.
The Raccacoonie thing is fucking hilarious.
No, the Raccacoonie thing is
so funny. Every reference to Raccacoonie in this movie will have you dying.
What's really sad is we didn't get a Raccacoonie with hot dog fingers.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Raccacoonie never could happen. You know when we have fucking hot dog fingers.
And I read something from Kwan, one of the directors on this, and he mentioned something about like the idea that like if infinite realities exist, then there is a reality based around every movie. You know, every reality is like every movie ever made is a reality somewhere, you know, and I really thought that was cool. And their thought process from making that particular part of the movie.
No, that's great.
I also about the Raccacoonie part. It was really one of like the most mind blowing parts. The first time I was watching it, the Raccacoonie. I think I saw the trailer for this movie like once, and it was like 6 months before the movie came out, and I didn't remember anything from it.
Right.
And the Raccacoonie part is definitely not in the trailer, thankfully.
Right. Thankfully, that would be. God, that would be a tragedy if it was. Really.
But the first time I was watching it, leading up to that part, I was like, this feels like a Pixar movie made for adults. It has like the same kind of comedic values and storytelling. It feels like a Pixar movie. And then that part came up where they're directly referencing a Pixar movie. I was like, this is insane. This is crazy.
Yeah. All the layers. No, that was such a fun touch on the thing. Like, it did such a great job of this film in just balancing all the really core must-have, like the really core element of what film has become over the years. You know, having everything, and just the super seamless blending is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so she's drawing all these experiences.
Yeah. I think this is the sign slinger scene, is it, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Take it away.
Yeah. Well, what scene is this?
I thought it was. I was just confirming. I thought it was the time where she was the sign spinner.
I can do a whole walkthrough the whole scene if you need it.
There might be too much basically, she uses all these abilities she learns from all these different versions of herself to become a formidable fighter. She defeats the minions of Gong Gong. And this defeat is like one of the best action sequences in the film, which is take it away.
Yeah, so they end up all of the minions are coming, and they end up. She takes the memories of a maid in a universe in which she's the maid of this building, and she realizes that there is like a sex dungeon behind the office, the desk in this office. Yeah. And so she gets her and Wayman and Joy in there, and then the minions throw like tear gas or something like that into the vents. So she takes the breath abilities of a singer to hold her breath, and then she reopens it, and she takes the sign spinning abilities of like a sign twirler for a pizza place, and steals a SWAT shield from somebody and uses it to fight off.
Which is a super fantastic.
It's awesome.
Super fantastic.
There's a kung fu scene. It's really good.
Super fantastic.
I also want to stop here. Something I like don't lose your spot here, Reese. I want to mention back when the police originally show up and she has the cartoonish deaths to these police. One of them involves like manifesting a double dong and smacking one in the face with it.
I thought that was that.
So ever since I was 16 and came across the idea of a double dong, I remember like coming close to getting my license, and I always had this thought that I wanted a double dong to put underneath my seat, to where if I ever got carjacked, when somebody like came up with a gun to my window, I would just smack them with the double dong because I thought that like there is nothing that would like snap a carjack situation faster than get like smacking. Like, cause you're just gonna like, what are you gonna do? Like, if you're a guy that's trying to steal a car and somebody just smacks you with a dick, like you're just gonna like walk away and you're not gonna tell anybody. Anyway, continue.
Hold on, real quick too. I do want to make one. I want to make a concession here in the thing that I was bitching about earlier. The first thing that she did was become the actress which knew kung fu. So if there is, and if I didn't feel that way when watching the movie, I'll watch the movie again to confirm if it felt that way. But if the president retains any of this shit from visitation to visitation, from movement to movement, from dimension to dimension, if she retains any of it, then it was a step, because the first thing she did was the actress, which knows kung fu, so my everyone knows kung fu thing is thus satisfied if that is indeed an established thing.
There is,
I think, because it's not a continuous. She does the kung fu, and then later she tries to fight Joy with the kung fu, but she doesn't have the ability.
There is a hint. There is a very much a hint at diminishing returns.
Yeah.
And they there's like in this scene, the sequence that you're describing now, Reese, that we just cut off for no reason.
Yeah.
There's basically even a point where I think Waymond is talking to Joy, and basically, and like they're talking about like, whoa, I think she's doing all this weird shit. It's making her stronger, you know, and like there's very much it's almost like kind of like a like a quick fix kind of a thing.
Yeah, well, it has to be maintained, especially in early degrees of you know, exploring the power and shit. I just want to make that concession because as long as that was present in the film, then they covered. They checked that box.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm about is box checking. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, continue with your explanation of this fight sequence.
So yeah, then she defeats all the minions, and
are we just gonna skip over the because we revert back to this the awards on Deirdre's desk.
No, that comes later. That's a little bit later, isn't
it? Does it come later?
Let me see. Because they go from that room. Okay, yeah. From that room, they move to the main office.
Yeah, they move to the main office. Everybody's involved. Like, we got minions coming from everywhere.
Yes, and then one of the minions, she can tell, needs to insert the butt plug trophy in order to trigger his transfer.
There's this awkward moment where they're kind of both running out of gas, and both of their eyes kind of move to like the butt plug, like with the butt plug trophy or whatever. Yeah. Like both of their eyes kind of fixate on the butt plug trophy.
Well, she can tell.
Scene?
She can tell that he is being like told to use the butt plug, and she doesn't want him to get that because then he'll get the abilities, obviously.
I mean, she picks up on the fact that he's like zeroing in on that random occurrence.
Yeah,
you know?
And that's another extremely Jackie Chan moment where it's like a really fun action sequence where they're not actually fighting. She's just trying to keep him away from the butt plug.
It's great. It's one of the best kung fu sequences ever, where it's literally just a martial artist that is using kung fu to stop somebody from sticking something up their ass.
And he's got his to put something in your ass. Like, there's a recurring thing. I don't know when it gets established, but there's a character that's a repetitive character, background character in the movie that she's like training with in some kind of fucking like, Japanese garden or some shit.
I haven't got to that yet.
Teaching her kung fu. I mean, well, yeah, but I think there's visions of it through the movie. I think it's I don't know when it starts in the movie, but I'm pretty sure that character and that idea starts somewhere relatively early.
I think it's showing like the person that trains her is also like kind of her mentor / agent.
Yeah. But it shows. I think there's glimpses of that, but it comes.
A lot of complexities to this movie for sure.
Yeah, for sure. No,
and the person, I believe, the person who's trying to get the butt plug in is also the guy who has Ratatouille in the alternate universe. I think it's the same person.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Okay.
It might. He's definitely.
You've seen it more than I have.
No, they all show up everywhere, and actually, that's a fun exploration.
Chad is his name, I believe. Is her like kind of like when she works at the hibachi grill. That's kind of like her.
The guy that's jumping on the butt plug is not a white dude. The guy is a white dude.
So while they're fighting over, like she's trying to stop him from inserting this butt plug trophy into his ass. Like while they're fighting over this. Another minion comes like jumping over a wall, completely bottomless, bare ass. Like they actually like blur out his junk as he's jumping and almost doing the splits midair.
Yeah,
the fucking
it's a super ridiculous thing.
It's the most ridiculous thing.
It's like WWE.
It's like WWE off the top rope, going ass first onto this butt plug.
No, he lands on a much more. Or no, he does get the.
He does land.
The other guy gets.
And the other guy that was fighting over it kind of disappears for a minute and then reemerges with
a sports trophy.
With a sports trophy sticking out of his ass.
The thing I'll say about this scene is like it's always the most random thing is the trigger for this transformation, and like this is the one time where it's not the most random thing. One was, the second one wasn't.
Because they both did it.
They both did it. Like this guy putting something in his ass, like that's completely random. But you're just following this guy's suit. That's not random at all. So,
but it's hilarious.
I do love how this action sequence, like goes on with like both these guys completely bottomless.
This is one of the most kung fu scenes in the movie.
Trophy like variations of trophies very obviously protruding from their anuses.
Dude, yeah, actually.
And they continue with the sequence. It's hilarious.
The trophy protruding out, because the other one, the one's a butt plug. That just happens to be a trophy. The other one is an actual trophy.
It's like a
that's why it's different.
Trophy,
so it has like a little person on it.
Yeah, like it's like fucking a good foot long. You know? So like the one guy with the anal plug trophy, like you barely really see that, but the other guy, like that thing's flopping around. So, like, good job on the props guy for fucking like making sure this thing can somehow stay affixed to this dude's ass while he's doing
not
kung
just
fu.
flopping everywhere.
That's some good workmanship. Like, good job, guys.
The props critic strikes.
Also, I think the guy who has the butt plug is bottomless, but the guy who has the trophy is just like ripped through. He
just went right through. All right, so she ultimately she defeats all these minions. And meanwhile, on Alpha World, Jobu attacks the A-Team van.
Intercepts the Alpha A-Team van.
And kills Ultimate Wayman in his actual body. So Alpha Wayman dead.
Is that when Alpha Wayman dies, or is there just other Waymans that are also like aware of what's happening?
I think from then on, it's just normal universe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so Jobu returns, and Evelyn prepares to fight her. But the strain of combining too many alternate skills at once and spending too much time in bodies of other Evelyns causes her to die from the stress. Jobu seems disappointed, and Wayman is devastated. And I believe this is this where they have like, this isn't where they have like the fake end of the movie, is it?
Well, you skip the part where she gets the pinky karate, but yes.
Okay, we missed the pinky karate,
which isn't necessarily like.
Yeah. Okay. There's a thing where
she the least interesting bit of karate in there.
Yeah. She learns some pinky. She learns
just kung fu
with a pinky.
Yeah. It's just an.
We missed some of the specifics of the action sequences, but we're trying to move this along. So.
Yeah.
I will say real quick, the pinky universe, there's a couple shots like she flexes her pinky.
Yeah.
And that's like they built like a 2-foot prop hand that actually did that.
Oh, that's so good.
Gotta Google
that's
it.
Fantastic.
Oh, nice. So,
yeah. Oh, man, that'd be so dope.
So according to my guy here on the internet, there's a title card now that says Part 2 everywhere. We in the right spot? Yeah,
I think you get the fake movie credits and then you pan out.
So by the way, in the theater, you get these fake movie credits. It's like literally just like Wayman like fucking like, oh no.
Yeah.
You know, like just the cries of despair, and then like end scene, like literally it's like the end, and there's like they're rolling credits, and you're like, wait, fuck, seriously? Is this like a? Is this like a series? They're gonna be multiple. What the fuck?
It says directed by the Daniels.
Yeah.
Well, and
but then they start like listing the cast, and the cast is the actual character names and not the actor names. Like, okay, okay, and then so it kind of reverts back, and then we get another title sequence, which is Part 2, Everywhere. So we went through everything. Now we're on Everywhere. By the way, at the theater, you're pretty deep into the movie at this point, and you're you're fucking. There are 3 parts to this movie. This is a long ass movie.
And that's where you would probably feel with that first credit scene that you get that gut reaction. It might be a credit scene because the movie's been so much so far. You've been. It's a hell of an experience already. So
you also get like kind of a montage where she's kind of losing control. She dies in a couple different the hot dog. She stumbles into the road and gets hit by a car.
Right.
And I think she dies in a couple different universes.
All right, so it says Evelyn's consciousness travels across the multiverse. Experience the very. Didn't she die?
I mean, this is after we've established that she didn't die.
All right, Evelyn's consciousness travels across the multiverse. Experience the various lives that she took and skills and knowledge from, including in the Hot Dog Finger universe. She is in a romantic relationship with Deirdre Bobeardra.
In the hot dog universe.
In the hot dog
universe.
Yeah.
Hot dog Bobeardra.
And we also learned that everybody in this universe does things with their feet. There's this,
which is the best. It's a great reveal.
Yeah, there's this beautiful.
All right. None of this made any sense until you could tell me they maybe did things. It still doesn't make sense, but I'll take it.
This love story continues, and we see Jamie Lee Curtis playing the piano with her feet. Really moving moment. We also learn in a universe where Evelyn decides not to get involved and just goes home to do her taxes that Waymond doesn't really want a divorce, but wanted to do something to force Evelyn to discuss their growing apart. Eventually, Evelyn is able to channel her spirit back into her dead body and resurrect herself.
Yeah. So, see, and this is starting, that scene there is starting to establish the importance of the Waymond character.
Yeah.
And the overarching gravity of the story and film that we're seeing.
I don't know when's a good time to mention this, but I think the hot dog universe, as far as each major universe representing something,
it's the funniest one for sure.
It's definitely the funniest, except for maybe Ratatouille one, Ratatouille one.
Oh man, Ratatouille and Hot Dog World are like. I'll tell you what. My favorite line in the movie is
Hot
when
Dog World is just so much better because it's a whole.
We skipped over the dialogue, but like there's a moment where we skipped past it and didn't mention it. But there was a moment where Alpha Waymond is like, he's like, I was wrong about you, you know, like you were living your worst life, and the fact that you're doing
worse than the hot dog fingers.
Yeah. She's like. She's like, worse than the hot dog world. He's like, you like this is the worst version of yourself, and the fact that you're so bad at everything is why you're so good. And I won't forget this is because we were watching this together. John Brown says, "I don't know if that tracks." The fact that you're so bad at everything is why you're so good at it.
Yeah. I don't know.
You have the potential to do everything. Yeah. I think the hot dog universe. If she goes to the hot dog universe right after Jobu Tupaki is like, really, you're hung up on the fact that I like girls.
Right.
She goes to the hot dog universe, which is the only universe I believe in which she's depicted as not being straight. She's dating Deirdre.
Yeah.
And they say, we don't know where she is. She went to a universe off the map. So I think it's a really interesting depiction of like the only universe that she could like she understands liking someone of the same sex is like such a far-fetched universe that like, I don't know, I'd have to have hot dogs for hands. Like it's so out there for her. She can't relate to her daughter at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. So she runs back to her home where she confronts Joy and basically forces Jobu to emerge from Joy's body since they were all connected. Evelyn tries to fight Jobu, but Jobu uses her immense powers to overwhelm Evelyn. Transporting her to worlds, like all kinds of different worlds. One where they're in prison, where they're pinatas, even one where they're animated. And then Jobu,
not even animated. It's like hand drawn, like by a child on a piece of paper.
Yeah, like some bullshit. And then Jobu then eventually brings her back to her base, which is just kind of like I don't know. It almost kind of has like inside of a White Chapel kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
And
it has similar vibes to the Room at the end of 2001.
Yeah,
it's like all white, everything.
All white, just clean. And this is where she reveals her device that everyone was so worried about, the weapon, which is she basically says that one day she got bored and just put everything on a bagel. And it kind of revealed the curtain, and like literally, it's it's basically a black hole, but it's in the shape of a bagel, and it's got literally everything.
Yeah. And that's the idea that everything
in the universe
is nothing.
I think there was a good line there. Said the problem with like when you put everything on a bagel, like everything collapses, and I don't know. There's this whole there's a bunch of great lines there. By looking into it, the viewer can experience all reality at once. She forces Evelyn to look, and Evelyn begins to believe that nothing in life matters.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, like, the viewer, like, this guy phrases it the viewer, but, like, there's only one, as far as we know, maybe, like, there's only one intended viewer of this thing, and that's Jobu.
Yeah.
Until later, and we know there's another number, but, like, people aren't viewing this thing.
Yeah. So Evelyn begins to believe that nothing in life matters, as humans are so insignificant. So a lot of what Gong Gong was talking about earlier, where eventually you become like her, she's kind of starting to go down the same path now.
Right.
Like okay, it's all meaningless. If infinite possibilities exist, this is all bullshit. The pair are only able to take solace in a universe where life never emerged, and this is a great scene. This is so they're skipping all these universes, and they end up basically in this universe where there are two giant boulders overlooking the Grand Canyon.
And this guy skips over the transition too, which is a really good transition, because in the transition to this scene,
you guys only knew how much I was adding to this.
Yeah. So there's all those different dimensions they're viewed when, you know, she takes a swing, when Jobu's like, fucking just try to hit me then if you want to fight me, like, go ahead.
Yep.
And the fist connects, and you see all these different things, and then the main character begs the question, you know, well, if you don't want to fight me, what are we here for? And that's when it's revealed. And that's when the tone of the thing changes. And to me, it was an important tone when we were watching it. I was like, I mentioned how excited I was that they got to this point in the film when it becomes a conversation. And the movie stops. Like, it took a break from being a kung fu movie and being an action movie and being a conversation, which is really what the thing is at its heart. And that's when they sit down on the couch and they drop into the rock.
This.
And that's a really good transition. And then it becomes no more kung fu, no more bright, flashy, crazy shit. Like, now it's just a conversation that you're going to have to read on the screen in subtitles. With no audio.
Yeah, that scene at the Grand Canyon with just two rocks and, like, it's silence.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it was just subtitles, conversation between two rocks.
It was such a good transition from the everything we've seen.
It's a great moment to, like, breathe.
Exactly. And you need to at this point in the movie, with everything that's going on, with the scope of the story, the action, the craziness, to just sit and breathe. And it's a good transition from everything to nothing. Mm-hmm. But everything can be contained in that moment. Everything you experience, you process in that moment of nothing.
Yeah. I think also when you were saying earlier about how Jobu's not actually trying to spread chaos, this is the moment where, like, Evelyn realized, Jobu's not going from universe to universe trying to destroy Evelyn. Yeah. She's going from universe to universe trying to find the one version of her mom that's willing to, like, pay attention and look at the world from her.
And she destroyed things along the way.
Yeah.
But those things don't matter because there's infinite things.
Yeah.
So the things she did destroy doesn't mean dick, because they're just there. Mm-hmm. So, like, all that really matters is the finding of this in the conversation that ensues.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if this Cliff Notes is going to take us down this, but, like, I think there's even conversation where she says exactly that, where, you know, like, the reason I was looking for you is because, you know, and it's really, this is where the title of the movie comes in. Like, she's a person who sees everything everywhere all at once, you know, and she, and the problem is like, well, that sounds cool. Like John, I think you even said that makes you a god.
Yeah.
Like, but there's some somberness to that, right? Where you're at that point, you're all alone.
Well, I mean, that's the fucking quintessential, like, one of the quintessential arguments and issues of being a human being is, like, that idea of forever. Like when is too much, and what is, like, you know, there needs to be an end, and that's why people philosophize that there is an end to humanity, because you need some degree of an end. And if you get to see everything all the time, like, everything blurs and the lines become not lines, and you're just spinning.
Yeah. I think there's even an acknowledgement. Is this where there's an acknowledgement where she's kind of like, you're like me now, and and like you're never gonna be able to go back. You're never gonna be able to undo what you've done. You know.
And it's cool because what actually the solution is is super sombering and it's super pure and honest and just good, and how you do that, and that's where the title and everything a part of the story like comes full circle is the solution to this thing, which we will reveal once we get to it.
So after coming to agree with Jobu that there is no purpose to life, Evelyn begins destroying her relationships in the various universes she is connected to, even calling animal control on Rakakuni. In her home universe, she signs Wayman's divorce papers, refuses to turn in her taxes, causing Deirdre to come with the police to repossess the laundromat.
As she's wrecking her shit.
Yeah, she smashes the windows of the laundromat. Jobu explains that by going through the center of the bagel, it will enter existence, and she believes it will enter existence, and on all planes, ending the pain that she feels to being lonely and all this pointless blah blah blah. She basically asks Evelyn, come with me, like we're kind of on the same plane now. Come with me through the bagel. And Evelyn's like, sure, let's go through the bagel.
And see, at this point is when it's really revealed. And that's what I mentioned earlier with the donut really means, like the donut bringing doom to the multiverse. Like it's actually not intended as that.
Yeah.
It's really only Gogu's, only her daughter's way out. And she just wants her mother to share it with her. Like it's not about ending the multiverse, it's about ending herself. And this is when it really kicks into high gear as not being the story mechanic, the driving story mechanic, and like trying to save the daughter, which saves herself, and then both of those things save everything. It brings the perspective and it brings the whole concept home, what is going to save this whole thing.
So before they go through the bagel, she hears Wayman's voice and teleports to a universe where she is basically Michelle Yeoh. She's the martial artist movie star. And in this world, she and Wayman never married. And so like there's kind of this like she's in like kind of like a dress as if she's going to like an award ceremony, and there's this big set of stairs. And she catches Wayman's eye at like the top of the stairs,
which is very classically filmed, like very old
school
vibe,
really beautiful shot.
Yeah.
And Wayman explains that he believes Evelyn didn't marry him because she misconstrued his generosity as weakness. And this
is a really important scene because it really sets the tone for. One, it really validates this character and shows you exactly how important this character is in the story, how important this character is overall, and starts to touch on and set up what actually is going to save the day and what really matters here and what makes life have purpose.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's like, I mean, it's the same guy that she married, right? I mean, like, she married the guy and, like, as her husband still interprets his kindness as weakness.
No, for sure.
So he was right on the money on that.
This is her breaking down from that, and the moment that she learns that like she was wrong the entire time. There's something else here.
Yeah. So instead, he says that being a loving person is how he finds meaning in the universe.
How he's a warrior. He touches on that.
Yep, and he says that he'd rather have lived a good life with Evelyn running a laundromat than the successful life alone that he actually lived. So, touched by his words, Evelyn begins to see the good moments in each of her multiversal lives. This is capped by returning to her universe, where she watches Wayman talk Deirdre into reversing her decision to seize their laundromat using kindness.
Yeah.
And
human connection.
Yep.
Just pure human connection.
Pure human connection. She realizes that he was right. Strength and meaning comes from true love. Despite Jobu's efforts to have Evelyn go through the bagel with her, Evelyn refuses. So she's like, let's not go through the bagel now.
Maybe things aren't awesome or terrible.
That was my favorite quote of the movie is, let's not go through the bagel.
Yeah. That was good. I think Joe Pesci made a cameo for that.
Yeah.
An irate Jobu teleports the bagel and goons from her home base to Evelyn's primary universe, where it begins destroying everything.
Destroying like a mall. is what it is. It's really destroying.
That's everything, John. Consumerism.
It's really just destroying.
Well, it looks like a mall, but they're still in the IRS building.
Yeah. But and I think the goons are all the same goons that were the goons from. Like, I think at this point the goons become interchangeable because I think the goons were the goons for the good guys earlier. I think the goons in this scene were the same as the alpha goons.
Yeah. Well, no. See, I don't think Jobu Tupaki ever has control of the goons. They're always under control of the Alphaverse.
So, but the thing is, like, then they're fighting. They're always fighting the main character, though.
Oh wait, that's true. They're defending the.
She's all powerful. I mean, like, of course she'd have minions. You know?
Yeah, but the goons just get swapped out.
All right, so I'm gonna call it the jackass now that wrote this this little synopsis or whatever. The very next sentence says, "Wayman gets Eleanor." It says Eleanor. It really does. Wayman gets Eleanor.
Hey man, that could have been autocorrect.
From Evelyn.
It could have been
to forego violence.
It could have been not called autocorrect. You could have.
Wayman gets Eleanor to forego violence and googly eye to herself as a symbol of her promise.
Yeah. Man, that's
you got to. Do you remember that scene?
It's a plot synopsis. I get it, but like that is just simplifying it so much.
No, that was a brutalization.
Yeah.
Alt Gong Gong and the Alt Alphaverse forces show up to kill Jobu using her powers.
Yeah, which a bunch of hilariousness ensues from this scene. This is a fun scene, like tapping into. This is the scene where she's tapping into all the different like realities of each character she's fighting.
So she reads the deepest regrets of the combatants and fixes them, causing each opposing soldier to stop their attack.
Yeah.
She also fixes the problems she caused with her other selves
throughout
the multiverse.
It's not about regrets.
It wasn't about regrets.
I think that scene's all about empathy and just, you need to take the time and realize everyone's going through their shit.
Well, this is she starts all the things that she tried to fuck up earlier. She's now trying to fix. She's making up with Hot Dog Finger Deidre. She's saving Rakakuni from animal control.
Yeah.
Right.
She confronts her father's abandonment. Like in her real life.
Mm-hmm.
This is where she's trying to make amends.
This is where she's forcefully telling Gong Gong that Stephanie has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And not in a comfortable way.
There's a moment where she says that she was trying so hard to not be like him that she drove away her own daughter. Right. There was a really touching scene where she said something to that effect.
Yeah.
So, family now united. They grab a hold of Jobu and stop her from going through the bagel.
Yeah.
That fair?
Yeah.
You guys all right there? You got a little smoky in the booth.
The first scene she has where she's trying to reconcile with Joy in front of Gong Gong, I feel like is very much centering herself in the conflict, and she's making it about her and what she's done wrong. And I think she even kind of like still belittles Joy a bit. And she's like, yeah, she's broken, but she's got a partner to take care of her. It's like, that's just
and that'll come up. So it's like simultaneously, Evelyn in her tax doing universe apologizes to her daughter. Joy at first rejects her mother's attempts at atonement. Joy declares that life is too painful and humans are too small in the scheme of things to matter. So why should they try to fix their relationship? Evelyn counters that while all that is true, it is these small moments of time and matter that matter the most, and that no single moment is more important than the fleeting ones they get to spend together.
Exactly, and that is the culmination of fucking nothing matters, but all those nothing moments are everything.
Yeah.
Every single piece of experience is everything, while it is absolutely nothing. And you just, that's the capturing. That's the beauty.
Yeah.
So it's fucking awesome.
And this kind of alternate, like, action, Evelyn and Joy embrace while Jobu is pulled out of the bagel hole and the bagel is deactivated. Jobu is also pacified due to Joy's resolution with her mom. And this leads to a third title card. It says Part 3, All at Once.
Yeah.
And I remember in the theater, it's just like, God damn, this is a long fucking movie.
Yeah, because the first parts are like about an hour long.
Yeah, it's like, God damn, it's like a 3-hour movie. But like, really, the movie's almost over at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
So
there's not much more to say.
There's I think less than 10 minutes left.
So jumping ahead, the Wong family is dropped off at the IRS building by Becky, who it's kind of a neat scene. She's like they do a good job of showing how Becky is now more accepted by Evelyn, but at the same time not super like. I think she's like, "Thank you, Becky," and like. But like,
you need a haircut, I think.
Yes, she said like you need to grow out your hair because she's got like the shaved sides.
And I really like
it's
that.
It's like she's putting you on the same level as her daughter.
Yeah. She's just doing that mothering thing that she does. And like, that's what the thing was earlier, where like the fat thing. Like it's really like it's this horribly offending thing for the daughter, but like it's still like in her ignorant way an expression of love.
I think it's a really brilliant way to like bridge that gap to like,
for sure.
Instead of just being like, oh, everything's good now, like just kind of like, oh, okay, like,
and there's it could be.
There's even a moment where it's like, fuck, I'm like accepted because she said something like condescending to me. She makes kind of like a ooh face. Yeah. So she's been fully accepted, including by Evelyn and Gong Gong. As they walk inside, Evelyn shares a loving kiss with Wayman, and this is like kind of when they're in the hallway right outside of going into the actual office.
Right.
And this I think this kiss is actually like a really important part of the film.
I was gonna comment on it. Yeah, it's actually absolutely a beautiful little moment. Like it shows the like youthful exuberance, like the real connection, and she's so excited to have it.
I think
that she.
I think it's a big it's a big thing, especially for like immigrant parents, like where they're so busy, like just trying to like go day to day, run a business, do all these things. And you don't really see them take these extra moments for romance. And like, it's definitely something going above and beyond where she's come to like, she's actually learned from all these experiences and actually has like embraced this part of her life where appreciating something that, which is fucked up when you think about how like she's now dealing with so many other things.
Right, but it's still so much, and that's a bit of the movie. That's a big, I think, a cornerstone of what the story is that everything is fucking everything. Yeah, like every big crazy thing that somebody is going through, some comparatively small, seemingly small thing that another person is going through, to them is still fucking huge. Yeah, and like, you're not saving the universe, but keeping your family together is essentially saving the fucking universe. Yeah. I mean, it really is, and that's where, like, as a small business owner, looking at that scene, making that time, like, it goes beyond, like, the fucking immigrant thing, and just, like, somebody that has this perfectly balanced thing that you fought tooth and nail to build and maintain, like, it's huge. Those taking those moments is huge, and it keeps the thing going, and that's, I think that a lot of this is comparing the space of the universe to itself. And in doing so, you would identify that, all the big shit is just as important as the little shit, and it applies from individuals' lives, the actions, the moments taken, all that shit, man. And that's what that scene really captures. Yeah. And it's in a positive way, because, like, just the look on her fucking face, man. Like, just sheer, like, joy and contentment and satisfaction. And I think that's a big part of what the film's talking about, too, is acknowledging that you don't need to have this big, huge, fucking romantic thing that you're chasing, this heroic bullshit that you're doing. Like, having your family, maintaining your family, living your life, it's fucking glorious. It's as glorious as any legendary kung fu fucking epic could ever be. Like, it's the same fucking thing. And that's, I think, that.
So this leads us to our final scene of the movie, where we have Evelyn sitting at Deirdre Wobirdra's desk, and Deirdre Wobirda.
We have to add a syllable to that.
Dude, ever since I learned that's her actual name on the call sheet, I like fucking died. So we learned that Deirdre is like much more happy with what she's seeing from these tax documents. This is much better, she said. It's not great, but it's much better, much better.
You got your shit together.
Very excited, very excited, and and you you get this really nice shot. It's one of the better shots of the movie, actually. This kind of a close up of Michelle Yeoh's face, and she's kind of got like a little smile, and then we actually see kind of like the inner monologue where she is still experiencing every single world.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a feel good moment where you realize that like she's experiencing every single possibility at once, everything, everywhere, all at once.
Right.
But at the end of the day, her consciousness is living in this little shithole reality where they run a struggling laundromat.
Well, I see that's the thing. It's not like, I think that's where it's bending perspective, because like it's what makes that shithole not a shithole. Mm-hmm. Because that's what the movie's doing, is drawing a parallel from that shithole to the rest of the human experience, the rest of this super awesome human experience that we perceive, and like showing the purity and honesty and the use of it. You know, like it's good to have those simple things that ground you in the world. Like when you can experience everything, like the simple things are what's there to ground you and make it all make sense.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Yeah. And the thing I really love is the first time that she sat at Deirdre's desk and they were discussing her taxes and all that, like that portion of that moment.
Right.
Like Deirdre asked her at some point, like, do you understand what I'm saying? And like, she's like totally in her mind in the closet.
Right. Yeah.
And she's just like, her answer was, yes, I am paying attention. And it's just like the least, like the worst response ever.
Yeah.
And like in this final scene, I think the last line of the movie, I can't remember exactly what the question is, but Deirdre asked her a question and she's like, I'm sorry, what did you say? Yeah. And like, that's the end of the movie. Yeah. Like, I love that. I love that as a close. It comes full circle.
Yeah.
Like it's fucked up because like, I actually didn't hear you, but like earlier when she didn't know what the fuck was going on, she pretended that she was paying, just a brilliant little twist.
Yeah.
So, that brings it full circle.
Yeah. That's the movie.
Final thoughts. What do you guys think?
I think the movie is perfect.
It's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, that's not. I know that's the thing. That's what's. So one of the movies that we might watch and talk about is a favorite movie of mine, which is Rubber, and that movie is the cornerstone of that dialogue. That is that film is the no reason, and like that's, and especially in a movie where there is no reason for anything. Like the movie defaultly covers all of its bullshit. Yeah. Any and all potential bullshit the movie covers just from that. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't mind, really. It's what made me mind those little details in this movie is how perfect it is.
Yeah.
You know, how perfect it is made me focus on those little details. Mm-hmm. You know, because it was.
I can't wait to read the book.
Yeah.
Like I like that they were so like invested in it.
Oh, this is a book.
No, that link I sent you. They sent a book.
It's like a companion.
Oh, the book the talk. Okay, I was just saying this thing was based on
the companion book that like kind of like goes into the science fiction ideas.
It'd be super interesting, and like because it said it was a description of like nihilism too, and like you should hear that what their thoughts are. Overall, I think the film is just it's a forever classic piece of art. I mean, I think it's to me, and that's where a lot of like people in the modern sense would look at modern artistic endeavors and maybe not feel inclined to put them on the pedestal of some of the things we hold as like on high as classic art, being, you know, Greek and Roman sculptures, being some fucking immaculate painting from the 1600s, whatever. But these things, I think, deserve that, and I think this film, a lot of films from the last 100 years deserve that, and I think that's what's cool about film now and on into the future is its role as classic fucking art, because like we're left with our ancestors' art that we get to just like look at and be like, damn, they did really good at that, you know. But like our ancestors a couple hundred years down the road get to like watch film and be like, damn, that was amazing. And I love the idea that maybe one of those a film that could be that function in the future involves beating the fuck out of people with dildos.
Yeah.
Like the fact that, I mean, in my opinion, I would put this film as like that kind of level of classic, like this level of high art.
Yeah.
You know, and like the idea that it includes that amount of ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Is awesome. And super indicative of what the human species is at its heart, which is what this film is at its heart. You know,
it feels extremely timeless. But also that like it could not. I don't think it could have existed without like 100 years of film language.
Yeah. Up to it. No. Like, and like it only exists in most art exists in the specific context of its time.
Yeah.
And it's just our times are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And our times, those are just like whatever. So
I don't think like like they could have made like a fully understandable and widely graspable movie in the 80s about like that gets this in depth.
Not quite. No. And every few years,
I've made the point. I've made the point that this movie is very much shot like kind of like a really long like music video, and the fact that there are no like long like camera move side to side shots. It's very quick, choppy shots.
Yeah.
Which sometimes you could use to criticize a movie, but there's no other way to make this movie than to do it.
Big.
Yeah, it's too big.
And it's a fucking kung fu movie.
But at the same time,
it's a giant kung fu movie. How else could it be done?
But at the same time, when you think about a movie that covers like infinite universes and infinite lives, it's choppy. But at the same time, there aren't a lot of sets. I mean, like it's all kind of centralized, you know. Like,
and that was brilliant to use.
Yeah, like it's everywhere all at once, but we use like 6 sets,
which is still it's still true to form because it's like everything is everywhere all at once, but like we can use this same setting because the story, as much as it could happen anywhere else, could happen here. So why can't it happen here? So we can just use these to tell the story.
Yeah,
it's just like okay, perfect, perfect. You know,
I also think like it's especially this last time I watched it, it's kind of funny to think about that it is an it might be the cheesiest movie ever made. It is.
Not the cheesiest movie.
I wouldn't say that. I've seen some cheesy fucking movies.
The message of the movie is be nice and care about other people. You know, like it earns it and it's perfect.
Right.
But it's like, if you think about it, it's like, damn, this movie's cheesy.
Well, no, and that's
but like in a perfect way. It's a great thing about it.
Well, that's what it needs to be like. And it's
Ted Lasso, the movie.
Yeah, you could call it cheesy for sure, but like that. Why I love the movie so much and how we've mentioned that it's fucking so important to me and how I look at the universe. It's like the solutions to all of our problems are inherently that simple and maybe a little fucking cheesy. Like be nice to each other.
Yeah.
Give a fuck. Like everything means something.
I mean, it's like Mr. Rogers. Like that shit's the cheesiest shit in the world, but it doesn't need to be heard.
It's just care. It's an adaptation of the message of just give a fuck.
Yeah.
About everything all the time.
I also something that stood out to me the first time I saw it was like as somebody who's raised very religious and like lives in America, it's like religion is just part of the culture.
Poor bastard.
You know?
Well, dude, we live in the Midwest where literally every few intersections you're looking at 3 churches.
Yeah.
On the same corner.
Or a billboard of Jesus's face, you know. Right. But like this movie is so refreshingly void completely of like faith, religion, spirituality.
Exactly.
It's such a humanist movie.
That's what's so important about the idea, and that's why it's so beautiful. Is because it's the best, one of the best so far illustrations of that. Like you don't need any of that shit.
Yeah.
You tell the same story with the same morals, with the same impact, and you just don't need any of that shit. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You just don't have to have it in here. We can tell the same story about the same things that matter just as much without any of this bullshit. With this fucking tomes of goddamn alphabet and fucking spellings of the things that are the same, you know, like it's all just regurgitated.
There's just like a popular opinion in like, I think especially evangelical Christianity, but I feel like every religion probably has this about themselves, is that like, well, you know, it's not all good, but like you're a better person for having been a Christian or being raised this way. Or like I've even had somebody say to me that like, well, you might have walked away from Christianity, but I think ultimately you couldn't be as good of a person you were today if you weren't raised in it. And I think that's like inherently false.
Well,
I think this movie is like that perfect illustration of
Yeah.
that. It's like this movie is just preaching, be a good person.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah.
first off, I'm sorry that it sucks that you
Yeah.
grew up in that environment, and like nobody should be made to feel seriously, like that sucks. Nobody should have to deal with that. But yes, this movie does do a good job of encapsulating that
Yeah.
particular
Well, and
thought.
it's a great example of how little any of that matters because you can just tell the story.
Yeah.
You can tell the story. You
Yeah.
can do the bit without any of it,
Mhm.
without any shame or shittiness.
That's my favorite kind of storytelling is like two shits to the wind. You know, like
Yeah.
I
Which-
don't like having to think about who you might offend. You know, like just make the goddamn movie.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like put the
Yeah.
art on the paper.
And that's what art's supposed to be, is just that. You just fucking make it and you don't care what anybody has to say about it. You convey your idea the best you can
Yeah.
and you let it ride. And that's the bit. Yeah, it's overall about this film, it's just it was solid. I had no knowledge of it. Like getting to watch it with no knowledge,
That's
it just
awesome.
made me super happy that it exists. 'Cause I
Yeah.
wouldn't- like you said, you wouldn't have thought that this movie would have got made. I wouldn't necessarily think this movie would have got made. And as far gone as some things in the world are, it's nice to see works of art like this get made because they mean something.
Mm-hmm.
In all this will probably be on fire in like 100 years, and
Or less. Yeah.
yeah, much less.
Yeah.
But up until the very end, the band was playing.
Yeah.
Up until the very end of our fucking society, we'll be like, hey man, like here it is, it's right here.
Yeah.
Anybody paying attention? Anybody at all? Last 1,000 years, there's always been some guy like, hey guys, everything's fucked. Like you wanna see? I just drew it all out, made a map, fucking
Yeah.
solution, everything. Here we go. Everything's fucking trash, but maybe this can help it better. I don't know. It just goes like nobody pays any attention. And goes and goes and goes and goes. And yeah, it's nice that till the very fucking end, the thing goes in the water, the fucking band is playing, and
Yeah.
here we are. So it's good.
All right. So everything, everywhere, all at once. I think we can all agree it is everything we hoped it would
So
be.
I didn't know if I would say it, but do we want to do? So with the name, we can do a vote. You know, or we can do a reaction. I guess is it a fuck this movie, or is it a fuck
Oh fuck, dude.
this
Fuck.
movie?
This
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
This movie is damn near perfect.
What's the vote? Is it a fuck this movie, or is it a
Fuck this
this
movie.
God
Fuck
damn.
this
Damn.
movie.
That's what this one is.
Yes.
It qualifies for sure.
So, fuck. This movie is great,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you better have already watched it, or else
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we fucked it up.
You could have had it been. I mean, you could have like as soon as we started this thing, we may be like pretty much on time. The movie, really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think we're over the runtime of the movie already.
Okay.
Oh, for sure. You
No,
could have watched it.
You could have watched it while
Yeah.
we were doing this thing. But
Yeah.
so next movie, how do we want to? Do we want to do our dice roll right now?
You have a
Do
dice on
roll
you?
right now to figure out.
Yeah,
Let's get
yeah,
some-
let's
let's
get-
get some
we're gonna
foley
figure
of
right now.
dice
I'll
rolling.
go recover a dice.
So
I
just
thought
so
you
everyone
drew-
knows,
Oh,
we actually did not choose this movie at random. We kind of just all decided on it. But from now on, it is very much going to be book club style, and I guess we're bringing out some. We got a thing over there.
Also, if there's like any message I can send out into the movie viewing audience, it's that
All right.
like John was lucky enough to do to watch this movie without any knowledge. People get so hung up on like needing to know what a movie's about or a plot or a
Yeah.
trailer.
Information age, yeah, for sure.
One thing that I get annoyed about is like, to me personally, I don't give a fuck about a spoiler.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
somebody could tell me like what the movie is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not gonna somebody gave me a description in passing of this movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Ugh, I knew what happened. I'm not gonna watch that.
Yeah.
Like, what would I lose
Right.
by
Yeah.
that? Like by going off of some rando Joe's fucking
Yep.
like bullshit explanation of this movie? If I
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not watching that movie.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I don't give a shit if you tell me what happened. I'm gonna watch the film. It's a piece of art. You know,
Yeah.
like
I just
The two things I could say is go to the theater and watch a movie this week.
yes.
Like,
yeah.
like,
the theater is,
do that.
People don't appreciate.
And maybe try your best to stick your finger in your ears and go nah while the trailers are going on, because it's just
Yeah.
gonna ruin everything.
All right,
Can I-
so
can I
All right,
do a
let's roll this
do-
dice.
Theater recommendation for this weekend.
Yeah, do it, man.
Beau is Afraid is out in theaters from the director of Midsummer and Hereditary.
Yeah.
Nice.
It looks very interesting. It's got Joaquin Phoenix in it.
Oh, I'm super.
I know next to nothing about it. If you can get out there,
Well, I mean,
it's not playing in
What you told me
Warsaw,
makes me want to go.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But if you're in a bigger city, even like Fort Wayne, it's playing in
Yeah.
Fort Wayne.
I actually just watched Midsummer for the first time just a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, great movie. Yeah,
Great
I was,
movie.
Yeah, very happy with it.
And then a little more easy access, but it looks like a really fun horror movie. Is the new Evil Dead? I think it's called Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, I'm
Is-
Yep.
super.
I will.
out.
I will.
I'm
I will.
gonna be
I will
watching
see
that
that
next week.
sometime. Hopefully by the end of next week.
Yes,
I'm
I
watching it
also
next
will
week.
hopefully see it.
For sure.
Yeah. So those are some.
All right, let's
theater
roll this
movies.
dice. What do we got?
All right, so that's the thing. So is it going to be
Just roll the dice. Highest.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
No, we're just gonna pick. We're just gonna go the order here.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Like roll the
Like
dice.
we each roll a dice. Is that what you're
We each roll a dice.
Okay,
That'll
okay.
tell the order.
All right.
John's a 4.
Four.
Reese.
John goes fourth.
No, not necessarily.
4.
Oh, okay. We just fucked this whole thing up. I'm a 5. So
5.
you guys re-roll.
3.
Four.
4. All right. So Reese, you will pick. You're a 3, right?
I got a 4.
Oh.
Oh wait, no. No,
No,
you
you
got
get
4. I got a
3.
3. Yes.
3,
got a
4,
3.
5. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
a 5, right?
So Reese, you will pick the next movie. John, you will pick the one after that, and I will back
That's a good
cleanup.
plan. That's a good plan. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's. Let's not forget because we've done this before, and we were all
No,
so
Should I just
fucked
should
up
I
that we
say
forgot.
because I can pick a movie right now.
Yeah, do it.
Oh, if you know the movie,
got
let's
it.
name it. Let's name it.
I'm excited for you to see Iron Giant. So I think Iron Giant should be on
Fuck
next.
yeah.
We're doing an
Yeah.
animated movie number 2. I
Yeah.
hate it. I fucking hate it.
No,
No,
you're
Dustin,
gonna
Fuck
love it.
this movie.
Dustin, it's going to be worth it, dude. I promise. It's
Oh.
really fucking good.
Fuck this movie podcast.
I didn't think you were going to, dude, out of the gate.
Yeah.
Fuck this movie podcast.